afternoon's game will mark the end of Alabama coach Gene Stallings' coaching career as he has decided to pass the torch. He announced his retirement following the Auburn game. 7 years here at the university, some great memories for the coach. Let's go down to Eli Gold, who is with Coach Stallings right now.
Well, Coach, here we sit the morning of your final game as head coach at the university, and I'm just kind of curious about these 7 years and some of the memories you've got to have. And I think as we look back to 1990, not knowing what these next 7 years would be like for you, and you got out of the box 0-3, did you ever expect in those first few weeks that things would turn around and there'd be such a wonderful love affair that the fans have had with you and so on?
Well, I thought we were going to eventually get on track and win games, because even those first 3 games we were playing pretty well. We were just having trouble winning. For example, we had nearly 500 yards against Southern Miss, but we turned the ball over 5 times. And then against Georgia, we were 10 points up, 10 minutes to play, and we lose that ball game. But it has ended up being an excellent 7 years.
That national championship night, riding off the field of the Superdome on the players' shoulders, what did that mean to Gene Stallings?
Well, it meant that I feel like I've accomplished what I was hired to do. I felt like to get the Alabama family back on one page and everybody sort of traveling along the same road. And then to win a national championship was what I was hired to do. And I did everything that I could, and then I can sit on the sideline now in my own mind and see that clock ticking down, and that's just a great feeling. But on the other hand, with all the great feeling, I still feel badly about the fact that we were placed on probation and got some sanctions, and so sometimes there's some good, and sometimes there's some things that you regret.
Other particular incidences that stand out in your mind as particularly special moments for you?
Well, a lot of big games. In 1990, when we played Tennessee, and Stacey Harrison blocked that field goal, we carried on down, Doyle kicked that field goal. That was a big win. The first win over Auburn was a big one. Obviously, I remember that one. When I pick out a couple of disappointing games, the last one with Tennessee, the last one with Florida. I would like to have that game over. I felt like we were a little bit better than the way we played, and when that happens, that's my responsibility. But by and large, when you think that we won 28 in a row, we went 32 games without losing. We did win a national championship. A great number of the guys graduate, even though I wish more did. It's been a good 7 years.
That magnificent winning streak and the non-losing streak, which came on the heels of a 35-0 shutout at Florida. Did you have any idea that your team was about to embark on that kind of a run?
Even that game against Florida, we changed quarterbacks, and we had an opportunity to score 2 or 3 times early, and we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot. And even though the score was bad, we didn't play quite that bad. No, I didn't have any idea that we were going to go from there to 32 games without a loss. That's not going to happen too often.
When you take a look back at all that you've done in your career, is there one thing that you're proudest of, be it professional, collegiately, high school, what have you?
Well, as far as participating in athletics, one thing that I'm proud of is I was the captain of every team I was ever on. High school and football and basketball and college freshman team, college varsity team. I was proud of that particular fact. If I were going to pick out something, I would say that what we've been able to make a contribution in some areas with the RISE program and some of the other programs in the Alabama area has been very pleasing to me.
Has it been pleasing, embarrassing, what have you, the ongoing comparisons to Coach Bryant? I know you try and downplay it a good bit, but the fans continue to bring that up. It's almost as though you feel uncomfortable by that kind of adulation.
Well, now, you and I know there's no comparison. It's people are wanting somebody to sort of remind them of Coach Bryant, obviously. And when you look at what he's accomplished at his time, the winningest coach in all college football, and the bowls and the prestige he's brought to the state, and the national championships he's won. mine doesn't even touch the hem of the garment to what he's been able to accomplish. But the fact that I played for him and I coached for him and have been around him just really sort of makes my career sort of a Cinderella career. Then you think the fact that I had the privilege of coaching for Tom Landry for 14 years. Here's the best in professional football and best in college football, and I had the privilege of working for both of them.
You've been a lucky man.
Well, I have. There's no question about that. I've had some ups and downs. My career's been somewhat of a roller coaster career, but I've enjoyed it. And the thing that I've said about Alabama, the people here, when I say people, I'm talking about the administration and the athletic directors and et cetera, has given me the tools to do my job. A lot of people can't say that. They say, well, you know, they handicapped me here, they hamstrung me here, but that hadn't been my case. If things didn't work, it was nobody's fault but mine.
Coach, we'll visit again in about an hour and a half or so from now, but enjoy your morning.
Appreciate it, and I've enjoyed working with you, Eli. You're very professional at what you do. And I mentioned this a time or two. Some blind people would say you just make that game come alive for them, and that's a real compliment to you.
And it's certainly my pleasure. We'll be back with the coach shortly, Tom, but right now back up to you in the booth. Welcome back, everybody. We continue from Tampa Stadium on this New Year's Day, 1997. Coach Gene Stallings is with us as per usual, and again, a Happy New Year to you, Coach.
Well, same to you, and I hope it's a happier one in just about 4 hours.
I would certainly hope so. What did you do, and how did the team celebrate New Year's Eve, or was everybody tucked in because of the early ball game today?
Well, I would hope so. We had dinner at 6:15, then we had a movie at 7, then I met with the team at 9:15, where I usually go over the game plan offensively and defensively, and we talked a little bit about special teams and had a reel there. Then breakfast was early. It was a 7 o'clock pregame meal. We left at 8:45 going to the stadium. And with 11 o'clock game, and they want us to be off the field a little earlier than ordinarily, so that changes our schedule just a little bit. There wasn't much celebrating as far as the New Year. Now, there was some people in the hotel that did enjoy it. I heard a little of that, but I was sort of tucked away.
You know, we talk on game day mornings up in your hotel room, and normally the family is around in massive numbers. This morning, as we sat around your hotel suite, it was rather early, and I'm sure everybody was still getting dressed and so on. And as I walked in, you were just in the suite by yourself, kind of spending some private moments, a little lost in your thoughts and your memories, or are you just counting the minutes down?
Well, it just sort of happened that way. I was making a few notes. When we get out to the stadium, I'll visit with the staff, going over some reminders offensively, defensively, and in the kicking area. And that's what I was doing. The others were sort of getting dressed, and, you know, because we had to leave a little bit earlier than usual. And then I've got some children, some grandchildren, and trying to get them all on the bus and out to the park. You know, sometimes it's easier for me to move my football team than it is my family.
You have downplayed, or at least tried to downplay, the emotional part of this week and this being the final game. Are you doing that for the benefit of others, or is it truly a part of Gene Stallings who can divorce himself from the personal part of this day versus the team part of this day?
I've tried to concentrate on the game, and as I've said a number of times, if I worried about how I'm feeling, or this is my last Wednesday, last Thursday, last staff meeting, then I'll be putting a little too much attention over in my direction and not enough on the team. So, you know, I've tried to prepare the game just like any other game. Monday was a Monday, a Wednesday was a Wednesday, a Thursday meeting was a Thursday meeting, and I did tell the players that I didn't even want them to give any fault to winning the game from me. It's the tradition of Alabama. It's the going into the off season. It's enjoying the game. If they want to please me, if the player wants to please me, I want him to graduate. Now that will please me. If he plays it hard, then the score will take care of itself. But just as long as they play hard and as long as they graduate, well, everything will be okay.
Let's talk about your football team as far as injuries and health. Ed Sissom back on the football field during practice. Bring us up to speed on how everybody's doing.
Well, we've had some sick people this week, but I think the change of the weather's been awfully hot here in Tampa, and we've had some upset stomachs and a little flu, and some guys that didn't get to practice a lot. I worry about the left guard position. We've got 2 starting players with knee surgery, and so that puts our depth a little questionable. System is back. I think he'll definitely play some, and this time of the year, and it's not like in '92. We had them all out there, and this year I'd say that we've got 7, 8 players that's been injured most of the year, but we're ready to play.
Spending time with Coach Gene Stallings, we continue from Tampa in just a moment. Alabama and Michigan here at Tampa Stadium, Houlihan's Stadium, as they now call it, after a restaurant chain. But nevertheless, this is a stadium that I guess you have played in. You were here professionally, were you not? Did the Cowboys come in here to meet the Bucks?
Well, we did. Well, I was here when I was with St. Louis. I was not here when I was with the Cowboys. Thing I remember about, and I've been here a couple of 3 times, but this was the lightning capital of the world. And we were getting ready to play a game, and one of those lightning storms was coming right over the stadium. So we emptied the stadium. All the players on both sides went into the locker room, and we suspended the game for about 30 minutes and came back and was able to finish it. But we've had a little success in this park.
Let's talk Alabama and Michigan. On paper, this seems to be the potential for one of the most entertaining bowl games of this entire bowl season. The schools seem to be fairly evenly matched.
Well, it's, they've got 4 first-team All-Americans, and when you got 4 legitimate first-team All-Americans, you've got some good football players. The thing about Michigan, and I don't like to really dwell on the other team, but they've got nearly everybody starting this game that started the season. They have done a good job of staying healthy and well, and they're coming off of beating Ohio State. And they're big and strong and typical Big Ten team. They've got size and they pound that ball at you. So we're going to have to play our best game if we're going to win.
And you talk always about defense being formation recognition. Michigan will throw you enough formations to choke a horse before the day is done.
Well, they do, and their practice sessions have all been closed, and so that says to me that they're probably working on something else a little different than what we've seen. But hey, that's part of football. And defensively, you got to be able to adjust to it, and you got to handle the movement that comes off of that unusual formation. If we can do that, well, I think we'll be okay.
Does it matter whether it's Driesbach or Greasy at quarterback?
Well, I would doubt if Greasy plays, even though he starts the game. He came in and did a good job against Ohio State. There's no question about that. But the other youngsters have been their starter for the entire year. And both of them are good football players. I mean, it's not a blink of an eye difference. They're well schooled.
We'll come back. Some final thoughts from Coach Gene Stallings after these words from our local stations on the Alabama Sports Network. As Alabama gets set to kick off in the Outback Bowl, let's talk a bit about the week of work down here. You mentioned before it has been exceedingly warm, temperature in the 80s every day. Has it been a good week of work for you?
Well, it has. When we came in, we reported the 26th, and we did not do any work at all. 27th was Monday for us, and so we were able to go right through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And today's Saturday. I've had the media sort of fouled up because I'd say something about Thursday, and they'd say, well, this is Tuesday. And it may be Tuesday to you, Thursday to me, because it was a Thursday preparation. It started in the morning, and the meetings and the practice. And so I'd say, by and large, it's been a good week. The players have behaved themselves extremely well. The hotel was just most complimentary of having our team in their hotel, and I always enjoy hearing that.
Coach, as we wrap it up, this is one of those interviews that I guess personally I hope would never come, our final pregame show together. But needless to say, it's been a pleasure. It's been a thrill for me to work side by side with you, and look forward to seeing you down the road, whatever career path, if any, you choose, or you just keep raising those good cows and horses and what have you on the farm. I wish you the very, very best. It's been a lot of fun dealing with you over the years.
Well, that's same on my part. It's as I've mentioned from time to time, you're very professional, and how I appreciate that. They ask me what I'm going to miss. I'm going to miss the Alabama people. You know, the people that have to save a little to buy that ticket and support the team. And I've received notes from them from just really all over the country and how they love Alabama. And I love Alabama. And I'll assure you that I'll be watching everything that I can, reading everything I can, and supporting Mike in every way that I can. And I feel like I'm leaving the football team in good shape. I think they've got good people, they've got good coaches, and hopefully the tradition just continues.
Well, certainly all the best to you and the family, and we'll keep tabs on you as well.
Sounds good, Eli.
Coach Gene Stallings with us here in Tampa. We're coming right back. Kickoff just moments away. The Tide and the Wolverines. We'll be right back. This is the kind of day that the state of Florida is famous for. Not a cloud in the sky, temperature in the 80s, and though the humidity is a bit high, we are set for college football and the 48th bowl appearance for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tampa Stadium. We are here in Tampa, Florida. The Tide and the Michigan Wolverines in the 1997 Outback Bowl. The second ever meeting between Alabama and Michigan. The first coming in this very same stadium back in 1988, what was then called the Hall of Fame Bowl, as Alabama and Michigan got together with the Wolverines winning 28-24. Doug Layton, Happy New Year to you, and welcome to Tampa, Florida.
Well, thank you very much, Eli. You're right. It's a gorgeous day, and it's nice to be here in Tampa on such a day. I guess the temperature will scamper up into the 80s before it's all over. And there's talk, will this affect the Wolverines, since they are, at least the women are, heavy of thigh and thick of ankle, and are accustomed to colder weather. And as a consequence, they may not be able to handle the heat as well as Alabama might.
Well, one thing we're going to be seeing is heat put on both quarterbacks by the opposition defense. Alabama with Freddie Kitchens, and the combination at quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines of Scott Driesbach, a sophomore from Mishawaka, Indiana, and Brian Griese, the junior from Miami, Florida. It is a combination that has played most every game for Michigan this year. And, of course, it was Griese who led the Wolverines to their 13-9 win over Ohio State. But, interestingly, Michigan has been very, very lax in their thoughts about Alabama's Freddie Kitchens. Matter of fact, the other day in the Tampa Tribune, when asked to describe Freddie Kitchens, the Michigan defense compared Freddie to Jay Rogers of Indiana, who is the Big Ten's lowest-rated passer. And that found its way to the Alabama bulletin board.
I'm sure it did. But these two teams, really, Eli, are similar. They both, their philosophies are basically the same as their head coaches. Lloyd Carr feels the same as Gene Stallings. That is, let's run the football and let's stop the run, and good things will happen to you. And that's the way they approach all their games, and I'm sure they approach this one the same way. And they have got some tremendous football players, some individual stars for sure. The Iron Skid is probably one of the better linebackers you'll ever see. And, of course, Woodson is a first-team All-America at cornerback. They've got some great players defensively for Michigan. That's where they start building their football team.
And not only is Charles Woodson fine offensively and the 85% humidity, it would be a two-way player like a Charles Woodson.
Exactly. Also, a great player is their nose tackle, who's an All-America, William Carr. He is going to be a thorn in Alabama's side in an attempt to run the football. Of course, he's been a thorn in a lot of people's side thus far this year. And offensively, their big star is the center, Rod Payne. They are a big school. I mean, the team is big. They're as you would expect out of the Big Ten, large fellows. And anytime you come into a stadium and you're facing Michigan and parked outside are the Clydesdales, you know that there's some big folks walking around, and that's going to be the case today. I noticed here at the Outback, they did not change Tampa Bay. This is the home of the Buccaneers. They did not change the names in the end zones to Michigan and Alabama. They still have Tampa Bay there, but They did line Tampa Bay in crimson on one end and in blue on the other end.
And the other 20-yard line to our left has the white stripe in the middle with maize and blue on either side.
Right.
The 20 to our right is the crimson striping around the white. So, indeed, you're correct. They use the Tampa Bay markings, even to the degree that the numbers on the field are placed where they are for National Football League competition, as opposed to closer to the sidelines. And what they have done, so as to alleviate any question as to where you're supposed to line up or any rules regarding substitutions, they have put little X's on the yard markers, on the yard lines themselves, roughly 10 feet inside where the numbers are towards the respective sidelines. There are little X's on all of those yard lines showing where the numbers would be at a normal collegiate football field layout, so as to avoid any confusion here today.
I didn't ask the coaches, but the pro inbound markers are on this field here. I assume they did not change them, but maybe they did change them and they erased the other markings. I don't know, but the pro inbound markers are closer together than the college inbound markers.
Now, this is one of the few stadiums that does not make many changes to appease the collegiate folk, although in Shreveport yesterday they tried to make the changes, and they were closer to international rules than they were anything else. They had the 3-yard line hash mark at the 1 and goalposts that weren't necessarily upright. So I guess, well, one thing is about this stadium, it is habitually, year after year, voted the best playing surface in the National Football League. Now, certainly our brethren over at Auburn and Penn State would not have agreed by virtue of their monsoon here a year ago, but barring extreme weather such as that, Tampa Bay Stadium, which has hosted a number of Super Bowls, is voted year after year the very best playing surface in the National Football League, and with ideal conditions today, there'll be no question as far as great footing is concerned. Our coverage from Tampa Stadium continues after these words from our local stations on the Alabama Sports Network.
You can usually find guys throwing me to the ground and slamming me from 10 feet in the air. But when you're round, covered with pimples, and dribble all over the floor, you get used to it. I am the rock, the pumpkin. I'm a basketball. I've been bombed, shot, and rejected. But despite everything, my ego always stayed intact. Until I ran into Mr. O'Neill and his sports drink, All Sport. It's got all those carbs for energy. Most people know the guy is Shaq. But when someone swats your plump orange hide up into the low section and tattoos the name Spalding onto his opponent's face, you tend to give him a little respect. It's been so tough for us basketball since All Sport came around. One ball tried to impale himself on a piece of broken backboard. Things haven't been this bad since the old ABA painted us red, white, and blue. Man, what were they thinking?
All Sport Body Quencher with 1/3 more carbs than Gatorade for energy and an unbeatable taste. The game will never be the same.
Here we go again.
If you are an Alabama fan and you want to wear what the Tide wears,
Touchdown, Alabama!
then you need to check out Game Day Authentics, your headquarters for Crimson Tide merchandise. This is the real stuff. Jerseys, jackets, caps, sideline and courtside apparel. Even unique Bama collectibles, videos, and souvenirs. Game Day Authentics is located across from Coleman Coliseum, directly behind center field at Sewell Thomas Stadium. The facility is open before, during, and after every University of Alabama athletic event. So the next time you head out to see the Tide play, don't just sit in the stands. Be a part of the action with officially licensed Crimson Tide merchandise from Game Day Authentics.
Welcome back, everybody. We are at Tampa Stadium. That is the normal title. A restaurant chain called Hula Hands has purchased the title name of the stadium. It's interesting because Hula Hands does not have any locations here in the Tampa Bay area. Tampa, St. Petersburg, yet they were looking for a stadium on which to hang their name and I assume offset the impact of Outback restaurants who sponsor this event, but most everyone referring to this as Tampa Stadium here today as Alabama gets set to meet the Michigan Wolverines. How storied are these two franchises? Well, Michigan is the number one winningest team in the NCAA with 768 wins. Alabama, number 3, tied with Texas at 312. Only Notre Dame separates Bama from the Michigan Wolverines. That's why this is such a talked-about game today. Granted, it's number 15 and number 16. It's not for the national title.
I believe it's 712, isn't it?
712. What did I say?
312.
I meant to say 712.
Right.
Excuse me. But that's the reason that this game today is so well and so highly thought of, because it's two of the most storied franchises in all of American college football.
Yeah, I would say, too, Eli, that the Michigan fight song and the Alabama fight song are two of the most recognizable fight songs in America. As a matter of fact, you're naming that the most Associated Press final top 10 rankings. Notre Dame is 1 with 34 times in the top 10. Michigan is number 2 with 32, and Alabama is number 3 with 30.
One of the interesting things, though, when you go behind the numbers, Doug, Michigan brags on how they are 14-3-1 against Southeastern Conference schools, and certainly that's an impressive number with one of those wins coming against Bama. But of the 14 wins that Michigan has against the SEC, 9 came against the Vanderbilt Commodores. So you got to take that number, with no disrespect to our friends in Nashville.
Oh, why not?
But you've got to take that number with a little grain of salt.
You're absolutely correct. But this is, both sides, I think, are really fired up about playing this football game, Alabama and Michigan. And I talked to some of the coaches prior to the team suiting up. And as we all know, Alabama is going through a change of coaches and so forth, and I wondered how this might affect the preparation for this game. The coaches assured me that the team is ready to go, and they haven't been affected all that much, and they don't think it will have really any adverse effect at all. So Alabama should be ready to play today and give their all, and hopefully they'll send Coach Stallings out on a winning note.
Trying to become the 11th Bama head coach to win his final game. More from Tampa, Florida, coming up after this from our local stations on the Alabama Sports Network. Welcome, everybody, to Tampa, Florida, the 1997 Outback Bowl, the start of which just heralded by a wonderfully executed skydive.
Here comes another one.
Here comes another skydiver from high above the heavens. Not a breeze to contend with, as unlike the case at Starkville earlier this year. Beautiful blue skies as the skydivers continue to cascade down upon this beautifully manicured field. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Alabama Sports Network. Welcome back, everybody. Along with Doug Layton, I'm Eli Gold. The officials will be heading to midfield here in just moments. It is a crew out of the Atlantic Coast Conference. The referee is Michael Dover. The umpire is Thomas Locke, Jr. The linesman is Charles Neely. The line judge is Ernest Benson. The field judge today is Richard Williamson. Daniel Post is the side judge. Virgil Valdez is the back judge. Terry McCauley is the alternate official and the electronic clock operator. Again, this crew out of the Atlantic Coast Conference, the ACC, working this game that features Alabama of the SEC and Michigan out of the Big Ten.
The head coach of the Wolverines is Lloyd Carr, and you folks listening back in Alabama might remember his football coach in college, Raleigh Dotch, who coached in Birmingham with one of the pro teams there. He passed on, but Lloyd Carr played for him at Northern Michigan, and he oftentimes refers to Coach Dotch in some of his talks.
He is completing his second season at Michigan, where he has posted a 17-7 record, and this is his first head coaching assignment. And, of course, Gene Stallings, a 1957 graduate of Texas A&M, 69-16-1 in his seventh season at Alabama with a 97-61-2 record overall.
The ACC officiating crew headed by Michael Dover making their way to midfield now. The men in the foam green polyester blazers representing the Outback Bowl, and they will help administer the toss of the giant coin, which along the lines of the silverware they use at their restaurants is somewhat outsized. Alabama has won the toss and elected to defer their decision to the second half. So the Crimson Tide will no doubt kick off to begin this ball game and will get the football to start half number 2. We mentioned Michigan is 14-3-1 against the SEC. However, 9 of those 14 wins coming against Vanderbilt. The Tide, conversely, is 12-7 all-time against the Big Ten, with wins comprised against Illinois, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Penn State prior to their Big Ten days, and they've also met the Michigan Wolverines here in this stadium back on January the 2nd of 1988. Don't forget, this is just one of the events you'll be hearing on the network this week. Hope you can join us on Saturday evening at 6 o'clock. We'll be heading over towards Music City for the 10-2 Crimson Tide basketball team, ranked number 23 in America, opening up their conference schedule against the Vanderbilt Commodores. Pre-game coverage on Saturday from Nashville beginning at 6. Tip-off at 7 right here on the Alabama Sports Network. And do remember as well, the Crimson Tide women's basketball team in action tomorrow against Oral Roberts University at Coleman Coliseum. If you can get there, do so. But if not, remember the Alabama Cable Network will have coverage of that one for you. Tape-delayed television on the Alabama Cable Network affiliates coming up tomorrow night, as they will be carrying Crimson Tide men's and women's basketball selected games and gymnastics right on through this 1996-97 sports season. As far as crossovers between the Alabama and Michigan roster, there are no Michiganders on the Alabama roster. As a matter of fact, going back over the years, only 2 Alabama lettermen have ever hailed from the state of Michigan. But conversely, Michigan does have one Alabamian on its roster, and he's a good one. Freshman wide receiver Marcus Knight. He is a Sylacauga native who played his high school football at B.B. Comer. He is the half-brother of former Alabama defensive lineman Damian Jeffries, and we'll be talking more about him as our morning continues. The Wolverines now heading onto the field to our left in their blue jerseys, the maize or gold-colored pants, and the distinctive helmets that are mimicking in design the old leather headgear that the Warriors of past years used to wear. Alabama is in the white with the crimson numerals and the crimson headgear.
They take times about being the home team, the Southeastern Conference one year, the Big Ten the next year. This year it's Michigan's turn.
Here now the kickoff by Alabama. It sails to the goal line where Tyrone Butterfield has it to the 10, 15, 20, big hole 25, touch left at the 30, he's loose 35, one man to beat, William Watts puts him down. The kicker, William Watts, but there is a flag on the play. There is a flag back at the 33-yard line as the big return by Butterfield was stopped by Watts at the 44, but again, there's a hanky on the turf.
Butterfield is 5'8", 170-pounder. He is a scat back. Literally, he can really fly, and it's the block in the back against Michigan, and so it would have been brought back at any rate. But it was a good way for Michigan to start the ball game.
Mike Dover, the ACC referee, with the mark-off. The Michigan headgear, originally designed by Fritz Chrysler. Now they retain that distinctive pattern on the conventional 20th century headgear. And here come the Wolverines now out onto the playing surface. Will it be Scott Driesbach at quarterback, or will it be Greasy? It will be Brian Greasy who will get the start by virtue of his strong performance against Ohio State. Driesbach was said to have admitted that if he were healthy, he would start. But at least we see that it's Greasy. He'll take the first snap. Here comes Alabama forcing Greasy. He'll scamper across the 20 to the 22-yard line where Paul Pickett makes the play. It'll be a loss of a yard to the 22. And again, Alabama with great coverage. There was no one for Greasy to throw to.
And also making great penetration that time for Alabama was Michael Myers. He got in there and was putting pressure on him, but the coverage of the corners was the reason he had to tuck the ball.
They will show many different sets, the Wolverines will. They go with two wideouts right, and on the handoff, the trailer is Chris Howard. He'll go over the left hash mark out towards the 30-yard line, a pickup of 8 on the play. Chris Howard, a junior from River Ridge, Louisiana, put down by Kevin Jackson. It brings up a third down and a couple now, make it 3 for the Wolverines early here in the Outback Bowl.
Michigan that time had the wide guys to the right, strong side that way, countered back to the weak side, the short side of the field, picked up good yardage on the play.
They've got Floyd and Ames as the two running backs behind Greasy. Man in motion, Williams to the far side. Here's Greasy to drop and throw right at his high, and it is dropped as Alabama's Deshae Townsend separates Russell Shaw from the football. Shaw, the number 3 receiver on the Wolverines, drilled by Deshae Townsend, who leads Alabama with 14 passes that he's broken up. That's the same number as Fernando Bryant. So the Crimson Tide now will have the man going back in deep formation, Chad Goss, Paul Peristeris from Lincoln Park, Michigan. His given name is Apostolos with the last name of Peristeris. And he nearly gets it blocked, but he is hassled enough to unload a bad punt. It takes a Bama roll back inside the 35, inside the 30, back to the 28-yard line. That is going to be a punt of negative yards. -2 yards on that punt by Paul Peristeris.
Well, that hurts your punting average, no doubt about it. He was hurried, and the punt was almost blocked, and it skidded off the side of his foot, and then miraculously took a backward bounce.
Tim Bowens was in there to try and hassle the punter. So Alabama will go to work 1st and 10 from the Wolverine 28-yard line. Bama is in the white here today. Good to see Alabama getting Ed Sissom back in the lineup, though he won't start. It'll be Riddle and Curtis Alexander in the backfield. Kitchens to throw on 1st down. Screens out on the right side. Caught there by Riddle. He'll lumber forward to the 22-yard line. Picks up 6 on the play. Marcus Ray, the sophomore strong safety, the number 3 tackler for the Wolverines, there to make the stop. Obama opening with the 2 tailback set, forsaking either Trevis Smith or Ed Sissom.
That time, they pulled the guard and swung out in front for that halfback screen on the right side. Good yardage by the running back.
It'll be 2nd down and 3. Football at the 22-yard line. Smith in ahead of Riddle. Handoff, Dennis. Nothing right. Tries to go left. He'll lose a yard. Back to the 24. Clint Copenhaver, the outside linebacker, stunted on through, and nobody picked him up. One thing that really concerns the coach, and Doug, you heard him telling us on the pregame show, he's very concerned about the left guard spot with Will Friend and Brennan Meadows gone with reconstructive knee surgery. 3rd stringer Jeremy Pennington has to really come up large here today.
Indeed he must. It's a great challenge for Pennington, though. It's an opportunity for him to step forward, which might be his last game in college.
Chris Samuels alongside Pennington and Causey, the center. Here's Kitchens to throw. Again, the screen on the right side. It is caught back at the 30-yard line. Forward for a couple, but nothing there, as Alabama's Curtis Alexander was snowed under by Charles Woodson and Jarrett Irons, a name that I am afraid we'll be talking much of today, but heck, everybody does. Irons is a bona fide All-America who will be playing in this stadium or another NFL field on Sundays before too much longer.
He's a great football player. He combines desire and he's got a great work ethic. He's just a great football player, and he'll be a toughie on Alabama today.
John Brock is in to attempt a 44-yard field goal off the right hash mark. The snap, Chester Lewis. The hold, Lance Tucker. The kick is up. The kick sails. The kick is good. Alabama jumps on top by a score of 3-0. A 44-yard field goal by John Brock out of Long Beach, California. And the Tide draws first blood. 11:18 remaining in the opening quarter. 3-0 Alabama. This is the Alabama Sports Network. The Crimson Tide leading by a score of 3-0 as we welcome you back to the Tampa Stadium on the 1997 Outback Bowl with Doug Layton. I'm Eli Gold. Our engineer-producer is Tom Stipe. Tom Roberts handling statistics. Our spotter is Butch Owens. Kirk Wood and Missy Beatrice with us from Collegiate Sports Partners. Bert Bank, our producer emeritus, and a host of others joining us. Fred Posey, always great to have him here from Buffalo Rock. Purveyor of fine soft drinks and wonderful cookies for those of us who need something to graze upon.
They're sinful, they're so good.
Aren't they good?
They really are.
He deserves MVP honors. The deep men are again Russell Shaw to the far side and Tyrone Butterfield to the near side for Michigan. Alabama's William Watts, who has recorded 34 touchbacks in what are now 66 kickoffs this year. He'll be handling the kicking chores once more for the Crimson Tide. Wild Thing, as they call Watts, the senior from Pleasant Grove, in his final game in crimson and white. The kick going right to left as we look from high above this field. End over end, sails to Butterfield deep, and they'll make him down it there in the end zone to our left. And when I say we are high above the playing surface, I mean distance-wise, I don't think I've ever called a game from this high in the air.
No, we're pretty high up. I would say anywhere from 10 to 15 floors up, looking down a half a block away for the game.
But Alabama now sends their vaunted defensive unit out onto the playing surface. Floyd and Howard, the running backs. You've got the quarterbacking of Brian Griese, his dad, the Hall of Famer Bob, now with ABC Sports. 1st and 10, Wolverines with Sheets and Knight wide to the far side. Handoff goes nowhere as Chris Howard gets bumped at the 15 and shoved back to the 12. Alabama's Ralph Staten took things away and stayed right on top of the play as it went absolutely nowhere but backwards.
That's the Michigan right side of the line that time completely collapsed. And Zach Adamy, who's all Big Ten, got laid on his back. And good penetration that time by the Alabama defensive front.
Chris Howard leaves. Chris Floyd and Clarence Williams now the wide receiver, at least the tailbacks. Ty Streets and Marcus Knight are split left. On the 2nd and 15, from the 15, man in motion. Griese to throw across the middle, complete to Williams, gets outside 20, 25, can't turn the corner, runs out of bounds at the 27-yard line. He will be about 2 yards, maybe 3, shy of first down. So looking at a 3rd and 3 are the Wolverines now from their own 27-yard line.
Great movement that time by the Alabama secondary to get into position to run him out of bounds because the play had flowed to the right, strong side. He threw back across the field, and it appeared that he might be able to get around the corner enough to pick up the first down, but he was chased out of bounds that time by Kevin Jackson.
Now substitutions for the Wolverines against an Alabama defense that even with the numbers they gave up against Florida are still 2nd in the conference and 8th nationally overall. Streets and Knights are the wideouts, and Griese doesn't like what he sees. He's going to call timeout. There was indecision on the part of the Wolverines. They brought Marcus Knight in belatedly as a substitution, so timeout on the field. Alabama leads 3-0 with 10 minutes and 31 seconds to go in the opening quarter. This is the Alabama Sports Network. Welcome back, everybody, as the Michigan Fight Song is being played by the Wolverine Marching Band here at Tampa Stadium. We mentioned Saturday it's Bama basketball at 6 o'clock from Nashville against the Vanderbilt Commodores. And don't forget, this coming Monday, it's a 2-hour edition of Tide Talk, live from Bob Baumhauer's Wings Sports Grill in Tuscaloosa. That is Monday evening of next week, starting at 7. Floyd and Woodson are now in a tailback. Woodson, the two-way player, he'll split to the left side on the 3rd and 3 from the 27. Griese drops back to throw. Near side caught at the 30, first down. Out across the 35 is Russell Shaw to the 37-yard line. the junior from Los Angeles, California, the third favorite target of the Wolverine quarterbacks, picks up the first down.
Actually, Shaw did it on his own because he was surrounded by Alabama players, and he kept moving and finally found an opening enough to break it loose for the first down of the ball game.
Anthony Dowdell takes a seat for the Crimson Tide defensively. Shaw in motion now on a 1st and 10 from their own 35. He comes back to the near side. Handoff right up the middle. Nothing there for Chris Howard, but he makes something of it. Out to about the 38. Give him a couple on the play. It is 2nd down and 8 now with 9:52 remaining in the quarter. Alabama leading 3-0.
Chris Howard, the running back for Michigan, is about 5'10 or so. Weighs about 195, 200 pounds. He is one of the top runners in the Big Ten.
So they'll split wide to the left. Marcus Knight goes that way. Campbell in at tight end on the 2nd down and 8 now from the 37-yard line. Handoff Howard. Big block over left tackle. He's across the 40 to the 42-yard line. 3rd and 5 upcoming. Terrell Buckner and Lamont Floyd, or at least Wayne Rudd, I should say, combine on the stop.
They send the guy in motion, Shaw that time, and then they bring him back. And Alabama is not moving anybody on the front. The linebackers are staying set. They do send the cornerbacks to head up the guys that are split, and then they counter back with Howard, and that's how they're picking up this yardage.
It's a 3rd and 3 from the 43. 1 of 2 in 3rd down conversions of the Wolverines. They'll split and send a man wide left now on the 3rd and 3. Greasy to throw and loads across the middle. It is caught short of the first down. Ty Streets makes the grab on that little look-in pattern, but Bama was right there defensively. Fernando Bryant with a superb stop.
What a great play by Fernando Bryant, because it appeared that Michigan was going to pick up the first down. But Fernando caught him in the air and carried him back. Dropped him this side of the 45, so it's 4th and 1, and they're going to punt.
Deshae Townsend back to handle the punt by Paul Peristeris. The first punt, you remember, went a negative 2 yards. He'll be punting left to right out of the snap of Mark Bolash, who does the long snapping. It's a low snap. Bama with limited pressure. Oh, and there's going to be a flag or no?
No.
There'll be no flag, and the catch made at the 20-yard line as Myers came in quickly on the effort, but a 36-yard punt. Everybody kind of holding their breath as the Tide put pressure on Peristeris, and that was something that Coach Stallings told Michael Myers. It was good what you did, but try not to hit him next time.
That's right. He was going for the block, and he tried to avoid the kicker. And the kicker, though, I think was after some sort of an acting award, too. He did it a while ago as well.
1st and 10, Alabama from their own 20, going right to left. Travis Smith is in the slot ahead of Dennis Riddle, the tailback. Handoff Riddle with LaRon White peeling off on the block. Riddle turns it upfield, gets out across the 20 to the 21. Sam Sword stops him while LaRon White and Smith went wide. Dennis cut it up the middle.
He thought he saw a hole, and he cut it up, and Sword, one of the top players also on that Michigan defense, stepped in and closed the gap. And Alabama wants to establish the run, and that's what they're probably going to try to do right now.
7 minutes, 31 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Bama leading 3-0. Here now is 2nd and 8 from their own 21-yard line. Freddie Kitchens under John Causey at center. On play action, Freddie is hassled. Gets away from one man. Rolls left. He does not get back to the line of scrimmage. He'll get to the 20 and lose a yard on the play. They were double coverage downfield against one wide receiver deep, and Glenn Steele, the defensive end, was chasing Freddie and just finally put him down.
That's right. He could find nobody open. Alabama only had 2 guys out in the pass pattern, and Freddie was getting pretty good protection, but after a while it's going to break down if he can't get rid of the football.
Alabama good on 35% of 3rd down conversions this year. They're 0 of 1 today. Curtis Alexander and Dennis Riddle are the split backs. The wide out to the far side is Goss. to the near side. Calvin Hall on third down. Kitchens to throw. Steps back and fires across the middle. Complete to Vaughn. He's at the 30. Spins forward. First down. Turns the corner. Gets an extra couple of yards out to the 34-yard line before Marcus Ray makes the stop. Great effort there by the Crimson Tide's Michael Vaughn, who, remember, is right now just a sophomore.
Michael Vaughn is a great football player. Going to be better before his career is over at Alabama. You got to be impressed, too, with Curtis Alexander, who was over there on the side running. He's a pretty fast guy. Got into position to make a block to help spring Michael for that first down.
Bama leads 3-0 on a 44-yard field goal by John Brock. We're still in the opening quarter. 6:24 to go. First and 10 Bama from their own 33, 34-yard line. Wideouts either way. Kitchens to throw. He'll look and go on the screen right side. Caught by Curtis Alexander. Turns the corner. He's out across the 35 all the way to the 39-yard line. Good hard work. Marcus Ray on the stop. He had a couple of linebackers that were cheating in on him. He froze them and accelerated around the two big guys to pick up 4 more yards.
You got to be impressed also with John Causey that time, the center. He was over there ready to lead the screen for Curtis Alexander. But Michigan played it very, very well. That could have been a bigger play than Alabama got.
Also a Pete DeMario block cut down a potential tackler. Nicely done. Here now is a 2nd and 5. Football at their own 39-yard line. Alabama has the backs in the stack. Montoya Madden ahead of Riddle. Handoff Riddle across the 40. First down 45-50 into Michigan territory to the 45-yard line. Hard hitting. You could hear some of those licks being passed down below. Woodrow Hankins on the stop. 16-yard pickup. First down for Riddle and Alabama.
Great blocking that time by the big guys up front to spring Riddle into the Michigan backfield. And Dennis, once he can get a broken field, he can put a move or two on you. And he managed to escape a couple of would-be tacklers, finally dragged down after the first down pickup.
And Pete DeMario right now just owning Glenn Steele in their mano-a-mano battle on the interior. Curtis Alexander and Montoya Madden are the split backs now on a 1st and 10 from the Wolverine 45. Kitchens to throw. Flares it out near side. Nobody to block for Curtis, but he finds some running room inside the 45 to the 44. Picks up a yard. It's 2nd and 9. Sam Sword, the inside linebacker, on the stop.
I've got Freddie Kitchens 5 of 5, I believe, and only one of those, though, was downfield. It was to Michael Vaughn on a crossing pattern earlier. The rest have been those flares, the screens left and right to the halfback.
5:14 remaining in the opening quarter. 23 yards for Kitchens on the 5 of 5. Bama now breaks the huddle, looking at a 2nd and 8 from the Wolverine 43. Trevis Smith is the man in motion, splits right with Riddle, the tailback. Here's Kitchens on the handoff with blocking outside. He'll turn the corner, Riddle will, but no, up comes great defensive efforts by the cornerback, Charles Woodson. He's that two-way player we've told you about for Michigan, and he takes the corner away. Good lead that time by Jeremy Pennington. We talked about the coach being somewhat concerned about Jeremy having to play the full game as a man who started the year in 3rd string. He had a nice lead on that block.
Charles Woodson weighs about 190 pounds, and he is very, very quick. And as Eli has pointed out, he does play both sides of the football, but he made first-string All-America as a cornerback, and that's where he excels.
Here's a 3rd and 7 for Bama now. Near midfield, Kitchens to throw. Looks and is fired across. Calvin Hall makes the grab short of the first down. He's to the 40, needed to get to the 35. So Alabama now will come up shy of first down yardage, and here come the Crimson Tide punting unit in off the far sideline. Hayden Stockton, who comes into the ball game averaging 42 yards per punt, has had a super year for the Alabama Crimson Tide. That is 3rd best in the Southeastern Conference for Stockton, and Charles Woodson is the deep man, standing back at his own 10. Stockton will be kicking right to left as a cloud comes by and shrouds the field in shadow. He'll angle it away from Woodson, but it will sail into the end zone and the touchback. So the Wolverines will get the football. 1st and 10 at their own 20. We've got time out on the field. 3:28 to go in the opening quarter. 3-0 Bama. This is the Alabama Sports Network. 44-yard yards of offense for Michigan, 32 yards of offense for Alabama as play resumes now in the first quarter. One thing, though, Michigan has had a propensity of scoring early this year. There were 5 games in which they scored a touchdown in their first possession. Not today. Chris Floyd, the single running back behind Greasy, the quarterback, on first down. He'll unload to Woodson. Safety valve pass out across the 30 to the 32. First down for the Wolverines. Cedric Samuel on the stop of Charles Woodson, the sophomore from Fremont, Oklahoma.
Woodson goes wide left that time, flanked out there, and it's just a crossing pattern. It is a slant, and he catches the pass after Greasy looks downfield to look off the cornerback, picks up good yardage on the play.
First and 10 now from their own 32 on the handoff. This time tripping up is Chris Howard. He stumbled himself across the 30, went down at the line of scrimmage. Actually, Damon Denson, the left guard, his foot crossed with that of Chris Howard and tripped up his own running back. It'll be at the 31-yard line. The play will lose about a half yard.
Nobody from Alabama got a hand on him at all. He just tripped and fell flat, losing a half or a yard on the play. Second and 11 now for the Wolverines.
2:36 to go in this opening quarter. 2 wideouts left. The backs are split behind Greasy. Handoff again up the middle. Hard hitting by Bama with a flag on the play as Chris Howard gets popped at the 32 and put down. But the Tide right in there again. They had Cedric Samuel up blitzing that time. Nobody picked him up, and there were flags on the play.
I think Rod Payne is going to be called for holding number 52.
The referee, Mike Dover from the ACC. Of course, in bowl games, you'll have conferences not playing in the particular game, serving as the officiating crew, with 2:25 to go in the quarter. In the background, you heard Mike Dover with the indication and the mark-off against the Wolverines. It'll bring the ball inside the 20, back to the 18-yard line, and it'll set up a long situation now of some 23 yards for the Michigan Wolverines. Bama leading 3-0 on an early 44-yard field goal by John Brock. It is 2nd and 23. Wolverines from their own 19. If you're just joining us, Brian Greasy has gone all the way at quarterback, not Scott Driesbach. Splitting wide to the far side now is Ty Streets, with Floyd and Williams joining Greasy in the backfield. Out of the shotgun, Greasy gets the snap, unloads on the cross to Williams. Williams with blocking, accelerates 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. He could go, but here comes Ralph Staten to take the angle and put him down back at the 30-yard line. Ralph Staten, the talented linebacker, out racing Clarence Williams, the tailback, on a touchdown-saving tackle after a 49-yard pickup for the Wolverines.
That play has been working all day for Michigan. That is bringing the receiver on a slant from the weak side straight down the middle. Alabama is so fast defensively, and they react so quickly to the football. A counter play like that really does work, and can you believe that Staten just flat out ran him?
First and 10 now from the 32. 2 wide receivers, far side, handoff Williams. Nothing there. Michael Myers came charging right through. Nobody picked him up. The play loses yardage back to the 35-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 13 now from the Bama 35. Myers just came, and they were warned about him, and they were concerned. They said they've not seen a guy as quick nor as effective as Myers all year long.
Well, Myers is a bona fide All-American. He's a great football player. He's a junior football-wise, and hopefully he'll stay around for his senior year.
59 seconds to go in the quarter. It's a 2nd and 13, Michigan. Football at the 35-yard line. Chris Howard, the single running back. On the snap, there are whistles. There is a flag at the snap.
It may be the clock. I don't know.
Good ball. Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Indeed, the mark off against the Wolverines will bring up 2nd and 18 now with 47 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Mark off being the 3rd against Michigan for a loss of 27 yards. They'll wind the clock, and it's on its move now towards the end of the first quarter. 41 seconds remaining. In comes the play from the near sidelines. Chris Floyd, the fullback, brings it in. Howard is the running back. You've got Streets and Shaw to the far side. On the second down play, here's play action. They'll sucker him in on the screen. Throwing to Shaw, complete out inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. That screen play to Shaw as the offensive line let everybody in through for Bama, and then the little flare out on the left flat.
Michigan, there's a flag on the play, and Alabama is going to be called for a face mask. And let's see what will transpire with the penalty. With 20 seconds left to go in the first period. And they're talking to, I guess, Rod Payne is the offensive captain, or are they chatting with Greasy?
Chris Hood came in on Greasy and seemed to have a handful of face masks. That might have been the call because I didn't see it on the tackling end of the play.
Payne is looking to the coach, Carr, to find out whether he wants to take the penalty or not. I would think he would take the penalty, although it'll mean less yards than the play.
Rod Payne, the center, walks towards the near sideline.
Well, it wouldn't take this long if Alex Trebek was running this.
I would just move on to double jeopardy.
Exactly. But look, I've never seen the game captain walk over and chat with the referee. The coach, and decide whether they're going to take it or not.
Now here comes the call.
5 yards, face mask, penalty from the previous spot, 5 yards, repeat second down.
I see they were discussing, I guess, because it's less yardage, but they saved it down.
Exactly. So the football will be coming back out to the 35-yard line. They had marched it back to about the 40, and Michigan began jumping up and down in protest. So they reposition it now at the 35-yard line. Streets goes wide to the far side with Shaw. Floyd is the single setback with a wide out to the near wing. Schumann is there. It is 2nd and 13 from the 35. Greasy under center. Steps back quickly. Throws across the middle. Caught. But at the same time, Bama's right there with Fernando Bryant. A wise Fernando Bryant who learned from the mistakes of earlier. He snares Clarence Williams coming across the middle. And we have reached the end of the first quarter with Alabama leading the Michigan Wolverines by a score of 3-0. Stick around. The second quarter is up next. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Tampa, Florida. We move into the second quarter. But the offensive numbers look like we're moving into the second series of plays. That's about all.
It looks like the second century almost, but it's not sparkling offensive by either side, really. 2 first downs for Alabama, 3 for Michigan. Alabama's rushed for 18 yards, the Wolverines for 6. Alabama's completed 6 passes. Michigan has completed 6 passes. Alabama's thrown 6. Michigan has thrown 7. Passing yardage, 26 for Bama, 83 for Michigan. Total yardage, 44 for Bama, 89 for Michigan. And 6:39 time of possession for Bama in the first period, 8:21 for Michigan. So neither side has really taken control.
Updating you on the Michigan quarterbacks, Brian Greasy started today. He was 6 of 10 for 106 yards in Michigan's first 10 games. Then an injury forced Driesbach to go down before the Ohio State game. So Greasy was then 8 of 14 for 120 yards, including what was the longest pass play of the year for the Wolverines, a 69-yard strike to tie Streets. Driesbach, meanwhile, who's not played today, is the number 4 Michigan quarterback in history to throw for 2,000 yards in a single season. We'll tell you more in a moment now as the play unfolds with Greasy now. Wolverines 1 of 3 and third down. Greasy to throw. Step back, lofting one, looking for Williams at the 5. It is knocked away, incomplete. Good coverage by the Crimson Tide's Dwayne Rudd, who went wide with the tailback Williams. And that was an interesting matchup there, and Dwayne stayed right with him.
That's right. Dwayne Rudd, a junior linebacker, regarded as a great one, and for just a moment, I was expecting a flag to be thrown because Dwayne did not watch the ball in, but he did not touch the receiver either, so it's incomplete.
Brian Greasy, who does the pooch punting for Michigan, is into punt now, and you hear the crowd on Michigan's side reacting to the video replay on the Jumbotron screen. The pooch punt is caught by Alabama's Deshae Townsend at the 15-yard line, and the Crimson Tide will have the football there, 1st and 10, going from left to right as we look. The Michigan fans sure that they were robbed there.
That's right. As you were talking about Driesbach and Greasy a few moments ago, this is the first game this year that Driesbach has not started.
Indeed.
And he got hurt against Ohio State, and Greasy came in and was the hero of the day, and that's probably why he's starting today, although Driesbach says his elbow isn't quite well yet.
He says, too, that he can throw the football if necessary, but Lloyd Carr doesn't like the if necessary part. Here now is a 1st and 10 Alabama from their own 15. Kitchens on the handoff. Here's Sean Alexander, near side 25, 30 as he turns the corner and is run out of bounds by Dadrian Taylor. Taylor makes the stop as Sean Alexander turned the corner at the near sideline.
That's the first time Sean has gotten the ball today, and on his first carry, 18 yards. He splashed on the scene mightily against LSU earlier in the year when he had a banner night as a Crimson Tide runner, and he looked pretty sharp there.
It's a 1st and 10 Bama from the 34-yard line. 2 tight ends for the Tide now, with Sean, the running back, getting the handoff. Nothing left, so he'll turn it up the field across the 34 to the 35. Give him a yard before Ben Huff makes the stop. It'll be a 2nd and 9 for Bama, going left to right from their own 35-yard line.
Alabama seems to be having more success running the football off the corners. That is with Kitchens giving the ball to the tailbacks on a slant. That time they tried the straight-ahead dive, and Michigan shut the door in a hurry.
Calvin Hall wide left. Good to see Ed Sissom back in the lineup now. He's in at fullback ahead of Sean Alexander, with Vaughn to the near side on the 2nd and 9 on the draw. It's handed off to Alexander. He's forward back to the line of scrimmage. No more. Steele and Sword combine on the stop as Bama still leads 3-0. And I just keep going back in my mind to that touchdown-saving tackle by Ralph Staten earlier. What a big play that was.
It was a great play, and Staten, I'm always impressed by the things that he does, and he seems to surprise me. On that case, he almost, it looked like the other guy stopped and waited on him. He was outrunning him so.
Here's a 3rd and 8 for Bama from their own 36. They are 1 of 3 in 3rd down conversions. Out of the shotgun with a high snap, Kitchens pulls it down, fires into the ground, incomplete. Calvin Hall, who was making the cut, lost his footing, and Woodrow Hankins was actually closest to the football, but it bounced en route to him, and Alabama is going to have to punt it away to Charles Woodson. Hayden Stockton, who had a 39-yard punt earlier, the senior from Double Springs, Alabama, up there in Winston County. He is in to punt it away to Charles Woodson. Doing the snapping is Jackson Cook, the senior from Coleman. Standing back at his own 22. Stockton gets the snap under good protection. He'll punt a boomer away to Woodson. Woodson all the way back to his own 13. Makes the grab up to the 20. Cuts right, hurdles a man. 25. Turns the right side to the 30-yard line. So a nice punt of 51 yards. Stephen Harris finally makes the stop after a 17-yard run back. 12:53 to go in the second quarter. It is Alabama 3, Michigan nothing. This is the Alabama Sports Network. Welcome back, everybody. We are live in Tampa. Interesting to see the folks who came by the Alabama practice field this week. Ephraim Thomas was here.
Right.
Mark McMillan, former Bama star with the Eagles, now the New Orleans Saints. And Antonio Langham came by, now with Baltimore, and interestingly was embraced by Coach Gene Stallings at midfield. They had what the coach called a very good visit. Of course, Antonio and the coach forever linked in Alabama lore, but they had a very, very pleasant and seemingly a very warm meeting on the practice field at the Tampa Bay Bucks complex where the Tide worked out this week.
There's been a lot of ex-players dropping by during this Coach Stallings' last game at Alabama. I just talked to Brian Bergdorf. He's down in the locker room. So there are quite a few players dropping by.
Floyd and Woodson are in the eye behind Greasy, the quarterback. first and 10 Michigan from their own 30. Woodson splits wide to the far side. Unbalanced line for Michigan. Handoff Floyd. Oh, and he runs over Short, who loses his helmet. Can't make the tackle, and he's out to the 42-yard line. Andre Short got separated from his helmet on a blistering hit by Floyd as he just steamrolled up the field for a first down. Hard hit.
That was a very hard hit. Floyd caught him in a head-on shot, and he's much bigger, and he's coming off the field under his own power, thank goodness. I guess he's all right.
12-yard pickup for Chris Floyd, the junior from Detroit. So first and 10 now with two tight ends for the Wolverines from their own 42-yard line, going right to left. They are in the maize and blue. Bama is offside. Michael Myers, prior to the snap, will jump from his left defensive tackle spot, although other Bama players seem to think he was drawn. We'll hear from referee Mike Dover of the ACC.
The referee threw his flag, too, and he's behind the offense, so let's see what the call is.
Maybe Michael was drawn.
Yeah. They're discussing it now.
Clearly, though, he was the first man, at least to our eyes, who moved.
It could be an offsetting. Let's see.
Prior to the snap, offside, defense into the zone, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Michael Myers just a tad antsy prior to the snap to Greasy.
That's something that the coaches just, what they're doing is anticipating the snap. I know that, but the coaches say you should never be offside if you're defensive, because you're watching the football. There's no need to move until the ball moves.
Meanwhile, the officiating crew moved the football the wrong way.
Yeah.
And that drew hoots and hollers from the Michigan faithful.
Well, this stadium runs east and west instead of north and south, so he grew confused.
I think it's the ghosts of Tampa Bay Bucks past. Here now is a 1st and 5 from their own 47. Howard, the single setback. Tight end in motion from the far to the near side. Greasy to throw, but I don't think he got the play off in time as the clock hit 0 just as the snap came, and I don't believe they got it off in time.
Well, again, we're having a high-level discussion.
Prior to the snap, they'll say it is motion this time. So they did indeed get the snap off with a second on the play clock, but Mark Campbell, who was in motion, the tight end, looked for a moment as though it were like the CFL. A couple of guys were in motion.
So where we are is right back where we started before Michael Myers jumped offside.
1st and 10 from their own 42. 12-12 to go in the opening half. Alabama leading 3-0. Chris Floyd, single setback with two tight ends again, wide outs either way. Campbell in motion, flag on the play, snap on the quick flip across the middle to Jermaine Tuman. He makes the grab, but again, looked as though somebody might have been a little anxious there.
Well, they're placing the ball, though. There's no flag, as I can see.
Thought there was a flag that came down. Again, it looked as though a couple of guys were in motion, but Tuman makes the grab. And actually now what I saw came down was somebody's elbow pad. I saw fly in the air, and it is retrieved and taken off to the near side. I guess a Pavlovian response on my part. Here's a 2nd and 4 now from their own 48-yard line. Out of the shotgun, the handoff down low. It goes to Clarence Williams. Finds his way across midfield into Bama territory to the 46. Michael Myers finally made the stop. Had he stayed up high, he would have been stopped earlier, but a nice down low move by Williams got him the first down yardage.
Michigan is really capitalizing on misdirection. They're getting the flow going one way and coming back the other way, and that works wonderful against a team like Alabama that really pursues the football. And
1st and 10 now from the Bama 46. You've got Shaw going wide to the far side, being joined there by Ty Streets. Backs are split behind Greasy, the quarterback. Handoff near side. Chris Howard can't turn the corner. He will get a yard, maybe a yard and a half to the 45. Paul Pickett on the stop. But Alabama did good work taking the corner away from the hard-running Chris Howard.
A good move by Pickett to catch him and grab him and just throw him down by the collar. He did not lose his footing at all. Pickett did not. Very little, if any, gain on the play, maybe a yard, yard and a half.
Howard, the number 2 rusher on the ball club this year with 700 yards, has carried 6 times for 11 yards today. Here's a 2nd and 9 from the Bama 45. Greasy under pressure, unloads as he is hit. It's incomplete. Andre Stewart, who came in after repositioning his helmet following that hit of moments ago, was right there on Greasy to break up that play.
That's right. He repositioned his helmet after the hit a few moments ago with Floyd. He was looking through the ear holes on the side, but it's a good stop that time by Chris.
So a 3rd and 9 now from the Alabama 45. Substitutions for the Wolverines.
Alabama's bringing in a bunch of backs. They're expecting Greasy to throw the football.
Russell Shaw leaves. Streets and Knight are the wideouts on the 3rd and 9 from the Bama 45. Under bright sunshine, Greasy steps back. He'll throw to the right side. It sails, but it gets past Kelvin Sigler and is caught for a first down. Marcus Knight makes the grab. Kelvin Sigler was there, tried to break up the pass, waved at it, and went past him into the arms of the true freshman from Sylacauga's B.B. Comer High School, Marcus Knight, one of those who got away.
I'll tell you, a great pass by Greasy that time. That was an out, and he must have thrown it 35 or 40 yards. Excellent throw. Alabama a little slow in reacting and getting and breaking to the football. First down, Michigan. They're 7.
Michael Fagan in, replacing Fernando Bryant. 1st and 10 from the Bama 32. Floyd and Howard are in, with Floyd going wide to the far in motion. Handoff right up the middle. He powers his way inside the 20 to the 16-yard line. So Floyd, the junior from Detroit, with hard running, tripped up by Cedric Samuel at the 17-yard line. Another first down. 9:44 to go in this opening half of play. 3-0 Bama.
Great set by Michigan that time, and again they're starting movement one way and they're coming back. And Floyd that time right at the gut with that one. Big run by Floyd. Almost took it all the way.
Streets is wide to the far side. Shaw to the near side. Handoff Floyd. Hit hard at the 20 on a dive play. It'll lose back to the 20-yard line. Dwayne Rudd clogged up the middle with a big-time stop. The play loses half a yard back to the 20.
That time Michigan did not try the misdirection. They came straight ahead with Floyd, and Dwayne Rudd was right there and slammed him down. Rudd is an excellent football player, and timeout is being taken by the officials.
The officials now changing footballs at the 20-yard line. Marcus Knight checks back in for the Wolverines, a former All-State performer, All-Talladega County, half-brother of Damian Jeffries. Here now the 9th play of the drive for the Wolverines. 2nd and 11 from the Bama 20. Greasy, a 2-step drop and a throw across the middle. Sails incomplete. Bama had coverage from both Samuel and Fagan on the intended receiver, Streets, but the football not catchable. It's 3rd down now and 11.
Greasy at that time just overthrew the receiver. He couldn't have caught that one, I don't think, even with a butterfly net. But the Alabama secondary reacting very well to the thrown ball that time. So one would think that Greasy would be throwing it one more time since it is 3rd and 10. The ball's at the 20.
Greasy, 8 of 12, 102 yards in the air. Here now facing a 3rd and 11 from the 20-yard line. Heading towards the end zone to our left. Here now, timeout taken by Michigan. 2nd time today that Greasy didn't like what he saw. He'll take time, and we'll do the same. With 8:46 remaining until halftime, it is still Alabama 3, Michigan nothing. This is the Alabama Sports Network.
Alabama trails 7-6 for Trick Rutten again. Hits the hell back. He passes down to Bryant, pulling his way down to the 12.
As a player, he was tough and disciplined. As a coach, he became a legend. Even today, the name Paul Bear Bryant symbolizes one of college football's greatest success stories. Now you can experience the glory of victories past and feel the pride of a winning tradition. Visit the Paul W. Bryant Museum at the University of Alabama.
With Doug Layton, I'm Eli Gold. Coming up at halftime, we've got scores and highlights of doings around college football. We'll be chatting with University of Alabama President Dr. Andrew Sorensen. Of course, a complete stat recap for you. All of that coming up at the intermission, but we still have plenty of football to play in this second quarter. 8:46 remaining in what has really become less than a scintillating offensive game, but I don't think we really expected that. Bama's offense at times this year halting, certainly, and Michigan averaging 378 a game on the ground and a grand, or in total,
right.
And a grand total of just 23 points a ball game, and some of those numbers a bit distended by their blowout wins over Minnesota and Michigan State.
And their defense, they live by defense. Alabama's been holding opponents to 15 points per game, and Michigan's been holding theirs to 15 per game.
Two tight ends, one in motion to the near side. Floyd is the tailback. Greasy under pressure. Staten comes blitzing from one side and Sigler from the other. They put Greasy down for a big-time loss on a 3rd and 11 play all the way back to the 26-yard line. Big-time blitzing by Bama.
That's right. Ralph Staten again, the guy in there. Staten, I don't know what he's going to do. He's a senior in future football, whether he can make the pros or not, but he doesn't have the size, really, that they would like at linebacker, but he is a heck of a football player.
Now a 44-yard field goal attempt by Remy Hamilton, who has hit 12 consecutive field goals, including a 48-yarder against Northwestern. This one sails, it is up, and it is good. So Remy Hamilton has tied the football game, matching the John Brock 44-yard field goal. We're tied at 3 here at the Outback Bowl.
That time, Michigan took 10 plays to get the ball in position. Alabama defense stopped them before they really got into the red zone. And then finally, like Alabama a couple of series before, they had to settle for a field goal. It, too, a 44-yarder. So are these teams about even or what? 3-3 right now, both coming on 44-yard field goals. Neither side can really to have taken control of the other side's defense.
It was an 11-play drive for the Wolverines, 43 yards in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And now Michigan's players trying to exhort their fans into some noise. This stadium, Tampa Stadium, which, as we say, has hosted a couple of Super Bowls, holds 74,350. They say they have sold roughly 50,000 tickets today, and that might be somewhat accurate. There are at least 23 to 25,000 empty spaces, and I say spaces because they don't have seats here. Everything is a bleacher-style bench with a back, and consequently, the wider the derriere, I would assume the fewer the capacity.
I guess. That's why. No, that's not the reason, but the reason that they're building a new stadium right over there is the boxes.
Here now the kickoff. It is into the end zone where Alabama's Sean Alexander makes the grab and the touchback. He will down it. Indeed, there is a brand new stadium being built immediately next door, which will be the new home for the Tampa Bay Bucks and does come complete with modern accoutrements such as luxury boxes, of which this stadium has very few, and those they have are small. And, of course, on the other side of this stadium, and you'll excuse me if I genuflect as I say this, the spring training home of the world champion New York Yankees.
Get back.
A stadium upon which I did stop the car and get out. There goes an Atlanta Braves fan controlling the microphones there. 1st and 10, Alabama. Freddie Kitchens, handoff. Sean Alexander up the middle, across the 20 to the 20.5 maybe. But this has really become a beautiful sports complex across the bay in St. Petersburg. The Suncoast Dome, which has been renamed in favor of America's orange juice, Tropicana. The Tropicana Arena, now home to the Tampa Bay Lightning of the
By the way,
National Hockey League.
The coaches went out last night to watch the Lightning take on Wayne Gretzky.
And the New York Rangers, and Gretzky did very little. Here now is a 2nd and 9 from the 21-yard line. Play action, Kitchens to throw, looks across, got it, Vaughn, first down to the 35-yard line. Nice crossing pattern on play action that froze the linebacker. Jared Irons just couldn't get there in time. Vaughn makes the grab.
Had Freddie led him just a little bit, Michael might have gone to the races because he was wide open and under full throttle, but the ball was a little low and behind him a bit. he did make the grab. First down for Alabama. Good play.
Ed Sissom back in at tight at the fullback spot now. Bama sends Marcel West to the near side with Calvin Hall. Sissom ahead of Sean Alexander on the 1st and 10 from the 33. Again, on the play action, the counter move. Nice grab. Rod Rutledge over the shoulder at the 45, out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Dadrian Taylor, a smaller man at 6 foot 180, couldn't stay on a well-thrown pass that Rutledge at 6'4", caught with full extension over the shoulder.
Rutledge, under a full head of steam, finally bumped out of bounds. Another first down toss by Freddie Kitchens, though. And now Alabama is sort of opening up their offense a bit with some innovative plays, that time going back to the weak side to the tight end, who held for a moment and then released. Excellent play.
8th reception of the year for Rutledge. Here's a 1st and 10 from their own 47, Bama, with 2 tight ends. Hape on the left, Rutledge on the right. Again, play action. Kitchens throwing long and out of bounds. Overthrows Shamari Buchanan, who had drawn tight coverage from Woodrow Hankins, the left cornerback. And basically, Freddie just throwing that away to stop the clock now with 6:45 remaining. You remember probably one of the most famous plays in Super Bowl history. Well, there have been many, certainly. But when the Buffalo Bills lost the Super Bowl on a missed Scott Norwood field goal, it was in this very stadium at the goal line to our left as the New York Giants beat the Buffalo Bills. Scott Norwood went on to play in Birmingham with, I believe, the USFL or one of the other leagues that came through town. He played for the Birmingham Stallions, if memory serves, but it was this stadium that housed that famous Super Bowl play of years ago. Here now on the 2nd and 10 from the 47. Kitchens under pressure, and Freddie's going down. They brought the whole team that time. First sack for Glenn Steele today, his 5th of the year, and the 31st sack of the season for the Michigan defensive unit.
Alabama that time lined up in a shotgun in order to give Freddie a few more seconds to spot a receiver and get the ball off. But the Michigan rush was just too much. They ran over the Alabama front.
Bama 1 of 4 in 3rd down conversions with 1 tight end now. They're looking at a 3rd and 17 from their own 40. Goss is wide left, 2 wideouts right. Kitchens to throw. Looks, everybody's covered, steps up and throws it halfway to St. Petersburg.
What in the world?
He stepped up. For a moment, I thought he was going to run, and then threw it past Goss, past the defenders, well onto the deep portion of the Alabama sideline, and it brings up a punting situation now. Freddie's numbers 8 of 11, 52 yards passing. And Charles Woodson goes back deep now to field the 3rd punt of the day from Hayden Stockton. He's had a 39 and a 51-yarder earlier. Jackson Cook, a good snap. No pressure to speak of. Stockton gets it away. Woodson steps up, 23-yard line. 2 men run by. Woodson pops out to the near side, 25. He's got running room, 35, 40. He's to midfield and finally gets forced out of bounds by Hayden Stockton himself. It'll be into Bama territory at the 47, 48-yard line. So Stockton with a good punt. But all of a sudden, Woodson was run past by 2 men. He came out to the near side and didn't stop until a 30-yard return following a 37-yard punt. 5:42 to go in the half. Alabama and Michigan tied at 3. This is the Alabama Sports Network. Chris Howard is the single setback now for Michigan with 2 wideouts left and 1 right. The quarterback remains Brian Greasy. Handoff is to Howard. He gets around. One man fumbles the football, but it is covered up by the tight end, Mark Campbell. He fumbled on a hit after losing a couple. Michael Myers made that stick. Then Mark Campbell covers the fumble for his first fumble recovery of the year for Michigan.
A loss on that play of a couple of yards. Good reaction by the Alabama defense. And again, Michigan, I guess they're starting to feel a little cocky. They did not try the misdirection. They came straight at the Alabama defense.
So it's 2nd down and 11 now for the Wolverines in their maize and blue, the blue jerseys, the gold or maize pants and numerals. Floyd and Howard now are the running backs. Here now Greasy. He'll drop on the handoff. Flag on the play as Howard gets the handoff and goes right side to the 46-yard line. Picks up a couple before Fernando Bryant put him down. But again, there was a flag at the snap at the 48-yard line.
Let's see what the call will be. The sun has got to be a factor in this ball game. In fact, the guy's offside on Alabama again. The Alabama squad, I guess that is the north. And the sun appears to be right in the face.
Gene Stallings not at all pleased on the sidelines. He was kind of edgy on the practice field all week, too. He wants to win every game, as we know. But this one particularly, his last game, he wants win number 70 of his Alabama career, so he can basically say he's got 10 wins a year over each of 7 seasons. He was really a tad edgy all week long and had the game face on a couple of days ago. Here now with Woodson joining Floyd in the backfield. 2 wideouts come the near side. 2nd and 7 from the 43 of Alabama. Greasy, handoff, single running back, nothing there as Floyd just dances forward to about the 43, maybe pick up a yard. Reggie Grimes and Michael Myers combine on the stop of Chris Floyd, the junior, who came in as the number 6 rusher on the football team, but has really been a workhorse here for Coach Lloyd Carr today.
Cedric Samuel and a few of the other backs are into the ball game now. It is 3rd down and 7 or short 6 for Michigan. They're expecting Greasy to go back to the air again.
2 of 6 is Michigan in 3rd down conversions. 5 defensive backs for Bama. Wideouts now splitting to the far side. Ty Streets joins. 2-step drop and a throw across on a slant is incomplete. There's a flag on the play as they were looking for Charles Woodson slanting in from that wide side. But this time the mark off against Michigan, so says Ralph Staten.
Well, I don't know if Alabama, if they have a chance, they'd probably decline it, I would think.
It's a hold.
You don't want to give them the ball another down there, so Alabama will decline this one, I'm quite sure.
And here comes the punting unit in for the Michigan Wolverines. Paul Peristeris, who has punted twice. Remember, Brian Greasy punted the 3rd time. Peristeris for a -2 and a 36-yarder. Alabama has Chad Goss deep to our left at the 10. 3:49 remaining in the opening half, tied at 3. Mark Bolash is the deep snapper, gets his job done. Peristeris boots this one away. It is a dying quail that will take a lateral bounce at the 12. Michigan will cover it at the 11. It rolls forward to about the 10-yard line. So Alabama, with 3:37 remaining in the opening half, will have the football 1st and 10 from their own 11-yard line. What's your special memory of Coach Gene Stallings, Doug Layton?
Oh, I don't know. I guess overshadowing everything, the football, the games, and all of that, is the fact that he is a bona fide good human being and really does care about people. And I think that impresses me more than anything else. And aside from the fact he's a very good football coach.
Trevis Smith and Dennis Riddle are in the backfield now on a 1st and 10 from their own 10. Handoff. Kitchens goes to Riddle. He's out across to the 11. Picks up a yard before Ben Huff was there to make a stop on him. I concur. He's a good man, a great family man. But I'll tell you, indelibly etched in my mind was that picture of him being carried off the field at the Superdome on the player's shoulders. What a special moment.
That may have been one of the great moments in sports that night. The air, everything about that evening was very, very special to Alabama folks anyway.
2nd and 9, Bama from their own 12. Again, Smith ahead of Riddle. Play action, Kitchens. He'll go on the fade pattern, far side, intercepted by Woodson. Intercepted by Woodson, who jumped in front of Vaughn to pull down the football. It will be the 5th interception of the year for Charles Woodson, the two-way player for Michigan. And if the 80-degree temperature and the high humidity is bothering him, he is hiding it quite well.
The interception was the first turnover of this ball game, and you can bet that Freddie Kitchens would want that one back. He put way too much under it, and he threw into double coverage. Michael Vaughn was doubled up, and one of the guys doubling up was Woodson. and he is one of the great cornerbacks in college football today. He's not going to miss an opportunity with a floating duck like that one to get the interception.
Chris Floyd and Clarence Williams check in as the running backs behind Greasy. It is 1st and 10, Michigan from the Bama 35. Floyd is in the slot. Greasy with protection, looks left and throws. Incomplete. Too much of a lead for Clarence Williams that time. A minute 47 to go until halftime. Remy Hamilton is coming in. Hamilton, who hit the 44-yard field goal earlier and has now hit 13 consecutive, is coming in.
Looks like another 44-yard attempt, Eli.
Another 44-yard try, virtually dead on between the hash marks. Bolash, it's a fake this time, and running on the right side is the quarterback, Greasy. He's across the 10. He's to a 5-yard line. Greasy, the holder, was there, took the snap, took off, and is down for the first down at the 5-yard line. Brian Greasy, the regular holder, and Alabama's Gene Stallings looks on across the way, somewhat incredulous. Greasy was already on his way up as the snap was coming to him. It was a designed fake from the get-go.
Oh, no doubt about it. A fake kick that caught Alabama completely flat-footed. They were not ready for that. They were not expecting it. And Greasy almost broke it all the way. If it had been any faster, he would have. But he was dropped at the 8, first down for the Wolverines.
Now with a minute to go in the half, handoff off the tailback. Hard running for Chris Howard. He is down to the 2. Cedric Samuel on the stop of Chris Howard. Again, some big plays in this series. The Charles Woodson interception, then the fake field goal that Greasy ran to the 8. Now with 34 seconds to go in the half. Here comes Greasy. He'll quickly down the football and stop the clock, though they do have one timeout remaining. They have used 2 today, the Wolverines have, and they'll be looking now at a third down situation. Third and goal from about a yard and a half away.
Yeah, they stopped it probably and saved the timeout because when they run this play, if they don't get it into the end zone, chances are Michigan will then kick the field goal.
Use the timeout to get that kicking unit in. Here come tight end Mark Campbell into the football game. Jeremy Tooman, Aaron Shea, John Ames. They have got the beef in there now, and now they're going to take timeout. What an unusual situation. The play clock winding its way down, so they will burn that final timeout right here. And if they don't get in, they're going to have to boogie to get their field goal unit in.
That is correct. But that's why they called the timeout, I think, to and while the timeout is taking place, Coach Stallings is taking a time or a hunk out of the official's ear across the way.
Timeout on the field. Why don't we break away? With 30 seconds remaining in the half, Michigan looking at a 3rd and goal from the 2. This is the Alabama Sports Network. Coach Gene Stallings still across the way at the 20-yard line, counseling the officials on the errors of their ways. He says, now, son, he says, let me explain it to you.
That's right.
And he is explaining and explaining. The official gets a half a word in edgewise. The coach explains yet again.
Well, I don't know whether the officials, they really need to get back to the game.
The bands are lining the field. They're ready for halftime. But with 30 seconds to go in this half, here comes Michigan. They've got Ames in the backfield now on the goal line play. On play action rolling. Greasy hit, and he fumbles the ball out of bounds on a vicious hit by Alabama's Terrell Buckner, the middle linebacker. That saves Michigan. With the ball going out of bounds, that saves the Wolverines right there, because now they can bring Remy Hamilton in, and he can set up the field goal, which will be less than an extra point. They'll snap an extra point from the 3. They'll snap this one. Well, now with the ball going out of bounds at the 5, it'll be a couple of yards longer, but still basically a 22-yard field goal attempt off the right hash mark. It's a tough angle this close in. Bolash, the snapper. Greasy, the holder, off a high snap. The chip shot kick is up, and it is good. A 22-yard field goal by Remy Hamilton has given Michigan a lead of 6-3 with 20 seconds to go until halftime, and the ball going out of bounds helped Michigan set up that field goal.
That's true. Greasy on a keeper going to the right. It was an option. He could either run it or throw it, and he saw nobody open. Alabama's defense was doing an excellent job that time of covering everyone, even the tight end that had drifted to the offside. But he was heading to the side, so he could run out if he had to, and he couldn't make the end zone. But Alabama really hammered him, knocked the ball loose, and it zipped out anyway. So
it was an eight-play drive, Doug, for Michigan with 29 yards, 2 minutes and 34 seconds off the clock, and the Wolverines lead 6-3. If you're just joining us, this has been an entire game built around the kicking game, really. John Brock, a 44-yard field goal for Bama. Remy Hamilton, a 44-yard field goal for Michigan. Then Hamilton had a fake field goal. Greasy took the snap and ran it, eventually setting up a 22-yard field goal by Hamilton to give the Wolverines the lead with 20 seconds to go until halftime.
The difference so far has been really the interception that was thrown by Alabama to set Michigan up in business on that last drive at the Alabama 35, and they had an opportunity to get it into the end zone, but the defense wouldn't allow it. They settled for that 22-yard field goal, and that's how they're up by 3 points.
Michael Vaughn to the far side, Sean Alexander to the near side. They are going to be receiving the kick by Jay Feely. It is a short kick, grabbed by Vaughn at the 20, 25, gets hit, reverses forward to the 26. 15 seconds to go in the half. Alabama does have a full complement of timeouts remaining if they'd like to try and set things up and air them out, although they are still relatively close to the goal line behind them, so you've got to be wary. But with 14 seconds to go in the half, Alabama does have some opportunities to do something here with the football as Freddie Kitchens trots in from the far sideline.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if Freddie doesn't just walk up or take the snap and kneel down and bring this first half to a close.
Travis Smith and Riddle are behind him in the eye. Freddie is under center. He's being too deliberate to be doing just that. Riddle is in motion. Here's Kitchens to step back and throw. A flare out on the left side. It is off the fingertips of the intended receiver, Travis Smith, and it falls incomplete. Not a good pass by Freddie.
Nope, just no way to catch that one. And Michigan was in excellent position defensively. They had backed up away from Smith and were giving him a little room, but there were 3 tacklers over there that could have moved in had he caught it.
9 seconds now remaining until halftime. Don't forget, we've got scores and highlights of other action all around the bowl scene. We've got our visit with President Andrew Sorensen of the university. Doug will have the stats, all of that at halftime. Here's 2nd and 10 now from their own 27. Kitchens to step back. He fires. No, he's going to step up. He's in the grass. He is put down. 2 seconds, 1. And we have reached halftime here at the 1997 Outback Bowl. At the half, it is Alabama trailing Michigan 6-3. Halftime activities.
Welcome back to Tampa, Florida. We're at halftime in the Outback Bowl here in Tampa. Alabama and Michigan. Michigan leads 6-3 at halftime. And I don't know how many there are, but there are a number of high school bands out on the field right now here at Tampa Stadium, entertaining mightily the folks that have attended this game this afternoon on a real sunshiny day in Tampa. Let's take a look at the official first half statistics, and these stats are brought to you by Citgo. Citgo says go, and so I shall. In the first down department, it is Michigan with a bit of an edge in that particular department. 8 first downs to Alabama's 5. On the ground, neither side has really been scintillating, but that is the goal of both defenses, and that is to stop the rush. Both have been successful. Alabama has held Michigan's ground game to only 46 yards, and Michigan has done Alabama even better. They have held the Tide to 30 yards rushing. In the air, Alabama has completed 8 of 13, had 1 intercepted for 52 yards. Michigan's Brian Greasy has thrown it 16 times and completed 9 of those for 114. So total yardage in the first half for Michigan, 160. For Alabama, 82. The only turnover occurred in the first half in the second period when Freddie Kitchens threw an interception to the great defensive back Charles Woodson. Penalty-wise, it is 3 for 25 yards for Alabama, 4 for 32 for Michigan. And Michigan has fumbled it twice, but they've recovered both their bobbles. Alabama has sacked Brian Griese once for -7. Michigan has dropped Freddie Kitchens twice for -11 yards. In third down conversions, Alabama is 1 of 5. Michigan is 2 of 9. We'll be back with some more, but that is Citgo's first half statistics. The teams are coming back out onto the field right now, so the second half will be coming up shortly. We'll be right back. Alabama and Michigan are having at it, and the Wolverines just come flying back out on the field. Alabama's team casually walks out onto the field as we get ready for the second half. And now, individually, here's what happened. Dennis Riddle was the top ground gainer for Alabama. He carried the ball 5 times he was the second. Sean Alexander picked up 22 yards on 4 carries. Riddle had 19 on 5. For Michigan, their top ground gainer was Howard. He had 8 carries for 16 yards. Floyd got through 3 carries, 24 yards. So that's the ground game has not materialized for either Alabama or Michigan in this first half, and that's what both teams, one, had vowed to do offensively, run the football, and 2, defensively stop the run. And so they've sort of the best of both worlds, I guess. One good, one bad. As you'll recall, Alabama won the toss to start the game. They elected to defer. So to start the second half, the Tide will receive. Michigan will kick off. Michigan will be to your right as you listen. That's the south. Alabama will be to the left and the north, and they will receive the kickoff to start the second half. And to bring all that action to you, as both teams are back out on the field, once again, Eli Gold.
All right, Douglas, thank you, and welcome back, everybody, to beautiful Tampa, Florida. Magnificently sunny day. Temperature in the 80s. A bit of a breeze kicking up now, making it a very pleasant afternoon. It takes a bit of an edge off the humidity that we dealt with earlier in the day. The Outback Bowl. Folks from Outback Restaurants, very much involved here, very high-profile involvement throughout the week here in Tampa. Of course, the teams really had a great time touring Busch Gardens in Tampa and doing many of the other normal touristy attractions, the Dolphin Experience and other items along those lines. But, of course, practice every day. Bama, as you mentioned earlier, using the Tampa Bay Bucks facility. Michigan used another facility here in town. The teams did have the option to work out here on the field and did so as well for a couple of days. It's been a good week.
Outback Bowl famous for their steaks, and one of the big nights was when both teams got together for a big feast by Outback just a couple, 3 nights ago.
Bet they went through a little bit that night.
Oh, man, they went through almost a herd.
Michael Vaughn is deep along with Sean Alexander, and Jay Feely's kick to Alexander goes 9 yards deep in the end zone. So it is down there, and the Crimson Tide will go to work 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. A 44-yard field goal by John Brock, a 44-yard field goal by Remy Hamilton, and then a 22-yard field goal by Hamilton, and there you have it, the scoring to this point. Freddie Kitchens, 8 of 13, 53 yards, and 1 interception. Those are the passing numbers for him as we begin the third quarter of play. Bama in the white with the crimson. Michigan in the blue and the maize. Bama going with 2 tight ends, Hape and Rutledge, with a single setback. Riddle on the handoff. Kitchens to Riddle, left side. Rutledge trying to help with the blocking. Does allow Riddle to turn the corner at the last moment for a pickup of a couple, maybe 3. Sam Seward, the inside linebacker, fights his way through to make the stop at 2nd down and 7 upcoming for Bama.
Good defensive play that time by Michigan to string that play out. Riddle couldn't get it around the corner completely. Finally, though, when he was running out of territory, he just cut it upfield before he was knocked out of bounds, but he did manage to pick up 4 or 5 yards. Not bad.
14:23 remaining in the third, just underway third quarter. Off the far hash mark, Kitchens on the counter move, rolls near side, throws complete, stiff arm by Alabama's tight end, Patrick Hape. Gets him out to the 35-yard line before Jared Irons makes a stop. First down yardage for the Crimson Tide as Patrick Hape picks up the reception, his 13th of the year, a gain of 12 yards.
Marcel West that time cleared out the area along with Calvin Hall. They were split to the right. They both went down and in on a post, and the tight end sort of drifted out behind them into the clear area in the flats. That opened it up for the first down toss from Kitchens to the tight end.
Shamari Buchanan and Marcel West go wide to the far side on the 1st and 10 from the 35. Again, two tight ends. Riddle, big hole left side off a nice block by West. He gets to the 39 and is stacked up there. Marcus Ray, the strong safety, makes the stop at the 39-yard line, but a good block around the left side, getting some yardage for Alabama.
It was a good play that time. It looked like it was about to bust for big yardage, but it appeared maybe that Dennis might have made the wrong cut while Marcel West was setting up the block. Mays played him off and made the stop.
But Mays now comes over to midfield where a trainer meets him. He is bothered by an injury to his left arm, so it seems. So Eric Mays, the junior from Kalamazoo, Michigan, will be walking under his own power to the near sidelines. We have played 1 minute and 40 seconds of this opening moments of the third period. Alabama trailing 6-3. The Tide looking at a 2nd down and 6 now from their own 40-yard line. Bama going left to right. Buchanan is the wide out to the far side. Vaughn to the near side. Freddie Kitchens again with two tight ends in the single setback. Hands to Riddle. Nearly gets tripped up. Then gets stopped up at the 40-yard line by Sam Sword, who did the tripping, and Jared Irons, who did the pinning.
Well, I'll tell you, Sword and Irons, that's a match, isn't it? They are great linebackers. Alabama is now confronted with a 3rd down and about 6 or 7, and Michigan sends in an extra DB. They're expecting to throw from Freddie Kitchens.
If you recognize the last name Irons, you are correct. He is the son of longtime NFL linebacker Gerald Irons. Jared Irons, a good one. Here now is a 3rd and 7 with Alexander and Riddle in the backfield. Kitchens and a quick drop throws. It is knocked down. Incomplete. The ball was knocked down by Mike Elston on a bit of a flare pass into the left flat, but Elston, the outside linebacker, got his hand in the way to deflect the football, and it brings up a 4th down situation.
It's a holding against Alabama. Michigan will more than likely decline the penalty and force Alabama to punt the ball to them. Michigan was ready for that one. They were expecting it on 3rd down. They had brought all the corners up. The free safety was there. They were expecting the little halfback screen to the left, and they got it.
And indeed, the holding penalty is declined, so Charles Woodson goes deep for Michigan inside his own 25-yard line to our right, while Alabama's Hayden Stockton, who averaged 42 yards a punt in the opening half, gets set to kick it away again. Jackson Cook, the snapper. Good snap. Hayden Stockton, no pressure. Booms this one.
Whoa.
Woodson all the way back to the 1. Foot on the goal line. Looks right, nothing there. Left, nothing there. He's to the 10. He's to the 15. And put down at the 16-yard line. Hayden Stockton with a boomer 60-yard punt and a 15-yard return. Just underway in the third. 12:07 to go in this period. Michigan with the ball, leading 6-3. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Tampa, Florida. Just talking here amongst ourselves. Tom Roberts points out the time of possession difference. 21 minutes and 7 seconds for Michigan. Only 11:46 for Alabama, but still it's just a field goal kind of an afternoon.
That's right. Neither side has really been able to push the other around too much with their offense. It's been a defensive struggle, and Alabama made the crucial error, the only really error so far in the ballgame, by turning it over on an interception that eventually led to the tie-breaking field goal that put Michigan ahead by 3.
Michigan has not scored a ton of points this year. They beat Illinois 20-8, Colorado 20-13, Boston College 20-14. They did score 38 in beating UCLA 38-9. They lost to Northwestern and scored only 16. They only scored 27 against Indiana. They scored only 3 in losing to Purdue. Here's a 1st and 10 Michigan with the quarterback Greasy on the handoff. Pressing loose and Howard over right side into the Bama secondary across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Chris Howard, a slashing runner, finally put down by Fernando Bryant. Nobody able to put a body on him, a first down run.
Missed tackles that time by some Alabama defenders afforded Howard the opportunity for the big run, and he picked up his 34th yard.
Right, 9 carries, 34 yards on the afternoon. Michigan now with a 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Single setback is Chris Floyd. Now he'll go into the slot right, joining Howard, who gets the handoff. Here comes Staten on the blitz, and he'll hang on to the ankles of Howard back to the 34-yard line. The play will lose a yard. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Alabama Sports Network. Welcome back, and glad you're spending part of your New Year's Day with us here at the Alabama Sports Network. It is 2nd and 11 now for Michigan. Football at their own 34. Greasy, the quarterback, drops and throws long on the right side, incomplete over Howard's head with Fernando Bryant on the good coverage, but the football not catchable. It brings up a 3rd down situation for the Wolverines now. 3rd and 11 from inside their own 35-yard line.
A great play by Fernando Bryant in that he moved in front of the intended receiver and slowed down, and looking back, watching the ball, and so there was no way the receiver could get to the football. Excellent play by Fernando Bryant.
Michael Fagan is in, along with Sigler, Bryant, Short, and Deshae Townsend. You've got the 5 DBs for the Crimson Tide on this 3rd down play. Here comes Greasy under pressure, rolls out to try and get away from Hood, throws, it is complete to Marcus Knight from Sylacauga into Bama territory at the 42-yard line. Cedric Samuel finally makes the stop. A big-time pickup under heavy pressure. Greasy rolling right and throwing right through a bullet to the Alabama native who went north to Michigan in the 24-yard pickup.
That time, under great pressure, Greasy got the ball away. An excellent throw. A great catch, too, by young Marcus as he took it to the Alabama 44-yard line. So Michigan's got this drive underway that they started at their own 16.
True freshman from B.B. Comer High School. Here now the 1st and 10 on the give to the tailback, Chris Floyd, or at least the fullback. He'll get the handoff and rumbles forward before Paul Pickett makes the stop. He gets to the 40-yard line, a pickup of a couple on the play, maybe 3. Let's call it 2nd down and 7 now for the Wolverines from the Alabama 40-yard line. If you're just joining us, Brian Greasy at quarterback has gone the distance. Scott Driesbach has not played a single down in this football game. Now the Wolverines break with another look. They've got a slot left with 2 wideouts left, and the single running back is also in motion now. So no one in the backfield. Greasy on the 2-step drop. Woodson, he'll throw the football back to Greasy on the far side. Greasy stumbles forward, which is a break for Bama because he had a lot of running room. He downs himself at the 37-yard line. It was Greasy and the flare pass to Woodson, who returned it to Greasy, and he had plenty of running room. He was just downing himself as he tripped.
It was Greasy's was a lateral. Then he threw it back to Greasy with a forward pass. And so, big play. If he hadn't slipped, he'd have still been running.
Yeah, they've still been running somewhere. And it brings up a 3rd down and 4 now for the Wolverines. Football is at the 37-yard line of Alabama. That was yet another look we've seen from the Wolverines. Single setback now as Greasy will throw under pressure from behind. He's going down. Paul Pickett came looking in and saw nobody between he and the quarterback on the blind side. And Alabama is going to hold as here comes the punting unit. Paul Peristeris is on for Michigan.
That was really something by Pickett. Jansen had pulled back and picked up Pickett, the blitzing linebacker.
Booted from there. High punt. Goss says fair catch. Why? I don't know. He makes it at the 1-yard line. A 1-yard line fair catch by Chad Goss. Not the play that he was hoping for. And Alabama is 99 yards away from pay dirt, and Gene Stallings in the face of Goss with a pained look on his face. They continue to talk across the way. 8 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the third. Michigan 6-3. We'll be right back. Well, Alabama is going to be working from the shadow of their goalpost to our left as Chad Goss, the junior from Warner Robins, Georgia, makes a bit of a mental miscue and calls for a fair catch at the 1 yard line.
Usually they're, if you're inside the 10, you usually call the fair catch and then let the ball hit and hope that it goes into the end zone. Probably Chad for a moment, I guess, thought he was around the 30 or something like that.
They just put up a picture on the Jumbotron screen here at the stadium. Obviously a Michigan fan with the sign that was basically to his friends back home. It said, wind chill factor, 86 degrees.
Yeah.
And that indeed. There have been some great signs. I saw one sign that said, son, send money, mom and dad. They had that one up on the board earlier.
Yeah, I guess their fellow Michiganders, especially in upper Michigan, are really experiencing some cold weather. Well, here comes Alabama.
They're going to mark the football officially at the 2 yard line as Alabama now takes the snap. Kitchens trying to give himself some working room, just lumbers forward to the 3. It'll be a 2nd down and 9 now. So this drive officially starting at the 2. For those of you keeping tabs with us at home, it'll be a 98-yard march should Bama find their way to the end zone. 8 minutes, 13 seconds remaining in the third. The Tide trailing 6-3. Calvin Hall wide to the far side. Michael Vaughn to the near side. The Crimson Tide now lining up with Brittle in the backfield and 2 tight ends. Kitchens under center. Play action. He is going to throw. He's going to layer it out. He's looking on the near side for Vaughn. Overthrows him. Incomplete as he had tight coverage again from Charles Woodson. But you called it, Doug. Doug, as the players broke the huddle, was motioning to me that he's going to air it out big time, and he did just that.
Yeah, you got to figure 2nd down, and Michigan was ready for it, and he just popped it long. Nobody back to protect him, kept one back in to help block. But he had plenty of time, and he just threw it too far. Michael Vaughn, who's pretty fast, is not that fast.
Bama now just 1 of 6 in 3rd down conversions this morning, or actually now this afternoon, wherever it is you're listening, except on the West Coast, where this game will be heard later. It is a 1 of 6 situation for Bama. They're looking now at a 3rd and 8 from their own 2 yard line. Kitchens again to throw. He has to step out of the end zone and fires long. It is over the hands of Marcel West, incomplete. He had a step on Woodson. The football was there off the hands of Marcel West. And Freddie was darn close to being hauled down in a safety situation.
He sure was. He threw it on the wrong side of Marcel, and he had to spin around and take his eye off the ball while he turned. And that brief moment, he lost the ball, really. So now we got a punt with a back against the end line.
Running as he was, Marcel was looking over his right shoulder. The football came over his left, and as Doug said, he had to look the other way. Now, Stockton, out of his own end zone deep, punts it away to Woodson, who even with a booming punt is only going to be sitting around the 45-yard line. The ball hits, goes out of bounds at the 46. So Stockton does as good a job as you could hope, counting the 10 yards of the end zone. That football sails some 56 yards in the air, but nevertheless, it still gives Michigan possession already inside Alabama territory.
You're right, Eli. Was a great kick by Hayden Stockton. In that one, he got the distance, about all he could do. And 2, he kicked it away from Woodson, had no run back.
So the football goes to the Wolverines, 1st and 10 from the Bama 46-yard line. They'll be starting with the single running back, Chris Howard, 2 wideouts to the near side, and 2 tight ends on the jump. Somebody moves. Here comes Greasy under pressure. He'll throw. It's complete on the far sideline, as coming back to the football was the receiver who beat Michael Fagan to it. And they were very deliberate that time, looking for Russell Shaw. And as the play rolled right, Greasy threw it that way, and Shaw got the beat on Michael Fagan.
They've been loading up receivers on the left side. Greasy's been rolling to his right, the weak side, the short side, and he's been finding targets. that have been running parallel with him about 25 yards downfield.
Easier certainly to throw that way than to throw it back across your body.
Oh, absolutely.
First down and 10 from the 33. This time Williams on the handoff, and Clarence goes forward to the 30, picks up the 3 yards there before he's stacked up by the middle of the Bama defense, joined also by Kevin Jackson. Only the first time today, I believe, that we have mentioned the name of the senior from Northview High School down in Dothan. He has been kept conspicuously away from the football by the Wolverines.
And the last 4 possessions by Michigan, the last 2 in the first half, 2 in this half, 3 times they've started it in Alabama territory.
2nd and 7 from the 30. Again, Greasy on the delay. Hand off to Howard. He will not get anywhere near the line of scrimmage. You lose 4 with Ralph Staten making the stop after Anthony Dowdell forced the play inside. Good effort by the senior Dowdell from Columbus, Georgia, and it brings up a 3rd and a long 8, maybe 9 for Michigan.
Kevin Jackson was coming in on that play, too, blitzing from his safety position. He'd been playing quietly a very good football game this afternoon.
Michigan, 3 of 11 and 3rd down conversions. Here they face a 3rd and 9 from the Alabama 33. Towards the end zone to our left, Greasy on play action. Here comes Myers. Ball is loose, fallen on by Greasy atop the Outback Bowl logo at midfield. As Alabama came in, Greasy fumbled it, but he got a lucky roll as he and the football came together on the way down at midfield. But that is going to be a good break for Bama. They should get relatively good field position after this punt by Paul Peristeris.
Well, Alabama receiving the punt, probably going to get it somewhere around the 20 if he gets any kind of return at all.
And here's Kelvin Sigler back as the deep man for Alabama, not Chad Goss, who had the mental faux pas earlier. Peristeris gets the snap under pressure. He'll get this spiraling kick away. Sigler says fair catch, and he'll make the grab at the 9-yard line. So Alabama, through all of that, will pick up about 5 or 6 yards on the exchange, going to work 1st and 10 from their own 9-yard line. 5:24 remaining in the 3rd. It is Michigan 6, Alabama 3. This is the Alabama Sports Network. Welcome back. We mentioned a few moments ago how Michigan's defensive end, Mike Elston, was the one who deflected an Alabama pass a short while ago from that little dump out towards the left flat that was tipped away. The reason Elston was in the game, we are told, is that David Bowens, the starting defensive end, is the first of the Wolverines to start feeling the heat. He is on the sidelines being pumped full of fluids on this warm day. Alabama now on a 1st and 10. Warren Faust, the quarterback. He'll option it out on the near side, and Riddle takes it to the 20-yard line. So Warren Faust on his first play at quarterback runs the option on the pitch out to the 20-yard line, and it should be darn close pending the spot for an Alabama first down. They needed the 19, and they will give him the first down at the 20.
Yeah, I thought he'd made the first down. Warren Faust, of course, brings a different plate to the table for Alabama offensively. He loves to run the football. He'd just soon keep it, has taught it, but he is an expert at the option. And that time, Alabama picked up its second first down of the second half.
Indeed. Inside of 5 minutes to go now in this 3rd quarter. 1st and 10, Bama from their own 20. Faust out of the shotgun. Warren calls the quarterback draw right up the middle of the 25, tripped up as he goes forward to the 28-yard line. The QB draw working for Warren Faust. His numbers coming in. He has rushed 21 times for a total of 85 yards, including some lost yardage there. Not too bad a number. His passing numbers for Faust, 7 of 16, 2 interceptions, 63 yards and a touchdown. He threw a 28-yard pass against the Kentucky Wildcats as his long strike of the year. That was one that was received by Sean Alexander. Alabama looking now at a 2nd down and 2 from their own 28. Under center, Faust again calls his own number over left tackle. First down and more. He gets out across to the 34 where he fumbled the football, but the play was already dead and he covered it himself in any event. But Alabama, I'll tell you something, Douglas, this is going to be very interesting come a new coaching regime next year as to what the quarterbacking situation will look like.
That's right, and I got a feeling that Mike Dubose, the incoming head coach, may be the kind of guy that will let the offensive coordinator, whomever that will be, will be the guy that coaches the quarterbacks and substitutes them.
1st and 10, Bama from their own 34. Backs are split behind Faust on play action. He's got company as he rolls right. Doesn't go down off a trip. He's across the 40. He's near first down yardage. They might well give it to him at the 44-yard line. Warren Faust says, heck, I'll just do it myself. And he has been the man, with the exception of one option play that he unloaded to a teammate. He has been the ball carrier ever since. First down, Alabama at the 44-yard line, their own.
Warren Faust is injecting a little life into the Alabama offense in that he has been running the football. And Michigan right now trying to make some defensive adjustments. They have not done so, and as a consequence, they just weren't ready for this.
Here now with Hall and Vaughn going wide to the far side. Alabama looking at a 1st and 10. Faust under center with two tight ends. He'll give to Riddle this time. Good block, left side. Riddle turns at the corner. He's across the 50 into Wolverine territory. Pickup of 6. Charles Woodson on the stop. A nice block by Michael Vaughn on the corner. Interesting tidbit that Warren Faust now becomes another in the ongoing list of father and son combinations who have played in bowl games. Warren's dad, Bill, played for the Air Force in the Peach Bowl during his collegiate days, and now his son appearing here in the 1997 Outback Bowl. And as the blimp casts a shadow across the field, Alabama goes with a 2nd and 5 from midfield. Faust rolling right, looking. No one's open. He'll carry it himself. He gets back to the line of scrimmage and then picks up a yard to boot into Wolverine territory at the 48-yard line.
Only had a couple of receivers downfield. Calvin Hall was down, coming from the left side on a cross, and then Marcel West on a down and out from the right side. Nobody was really open, so Warren tucked it and ran, and for the first time, Alabama is going to be faced with a 3rd and more than 2 situation for Warren Faust.
Warren Faust, who appeared in a couple of games last year against Vanderbilt and North Texas, has had far more of an input this year, this being the 8th game in which he has appeared. Bama, 1 of 7 in 3rd down conversions. Here's a 3rd and 3 from the Wolverine 48. Pitch outside. Riddle running room. First down, 40, 35, 30, inside of the 29-yard line. He got a block from Trevis Smith. He got one from Michael Vaughn. 19 yards later, he stops at the Wolverine 29.
Excellent option run that time by Warren Faust. He set it up beautifully, and on that play, you don't block the defensive end. You make him commit. And Warren held it until the last moment. The end went for him. He tossed it back to the trail back, Riddle. First down, Alabama, inside the 30. By far, Alabama's best offensive production in this ball game.
Michigan leads 6-3. 1:42 to go in the 3rd. Alabama now with a 1st and 10 from the Wolverine 30. Faust on the option. Pitches out to Riddle. Nobody there to help him. He's put down by the defensive back. David Bowens, who has been used both at defensive back and in this instance at the at the defensive end spot, spelling Mike Elston, was there to make the stop. He wouldn't let Riddle turn the corner.
Bowens was assigned the trail back. That's what happens. The coaches are making the adjustment now. A linebacker's probably given the quarterback, go for the quarterback, make him throw the football. Bowens will stick with the trail back, in this case Dennis Riddle, and he was man on the spot. Nobody was in front of him, and he made the stop. Alabama loses about 5 on the play.
9th play of the drive, which for Bama makes this the longest drive in plays and yardage on the day. Here on the reverse, Vaughn on the give to Marcel West. He turns it up and fumbles the football. It is loose and covered by Michigan at the 30-yard line. Joe Holiday reached behind to try and pick it up and is still fighting on the bottom of the pile, though the Wolverines all say they have it, and the official now concurs, as coming up with it is nose tackle William Carr. So Alabama's most sustained drive of the day ends on a fumble at the 30-yard line. William Carr on the cover with 45 seconds to go in the 3rd.
It just seemed the play to take too long, a double reverse, and when it did finally develop, Michigan was in pretty good defensive position, and Marcel West I guess was hammered so hard, the ball was jarred loose. Second turnover of the ball game, both committed by Alabama.
That's right. Michigan's not turned it over. Now with Greasy at quarterback again. Here's the handoff to Williams on the first down. He'll go right, breaks tackles. Piece of midfield, 45-40. Gets taken down at the 38-yard line by Michael Fagan. It was just your basic slashing run around right side, and never did he stop until he was 30 yards further downfield. Clarence Williams.
Again, Michigan is in Alabama territory. They've been there deep, too, in the last 5 possessions, and that time he just clearly broke tackles at the line of scrimmage and kept running with the football. Great play defensively by Alabama. I think the cornerback that did the job was Andre Short that played him off. Fagan caught him.
Here now on the 1st and 10 play, Williams up the middle. He'll get inside the 40 to the 39. Kelvin Moore there to put the grasp on him with 14 seconds remaining in this quarter, and that will be the final play of the third. Alabama came calling but dropped the football, and now Michigan is in business as we go to the fourth quarter. It'll be 2nd and 9 from the Alabama 39. 3 quarters of play complete. 6-3 Michigan. We'll be right back. The fourth quarter is upon us here in Tampa, Florida with Doug Layton. I'm Eli Gold. Michigan has the football. They lead 6-3. Bama squandered a golden opportunity a short while ago with a fumble.
So far in the ball game, after 3 quarters, Michigan with 12 first downs, Alabama with 10. On the ground, they're about the same, 88 on the ground for Alabama. Most of that coming under the guidance of Warren Faust on that last drive. Michigan has picked up 80. But in the passing department, Alabama not too sparkling there. 9 of 17 with 1 picked off for 65 yards. Greasy is 12 of 20 for 155 yards. There's the difference. Total yardage, 235 for the Wolverines, 143 for Alabama. Time of possession, Michigan with a little over 4-minute edge in that particular department. And Alabama is keeping Michigan in business with that last fumble that occurred on the Michigan 30 as they were moving, it appeared moving anyway, toward maybe a score. And we've heard the Michigan fight song way too many times today.
Yes, we have. The band is busily blowing their own horn, as it were, in the end zone to our right. The $1 Million Band also on hand. Here we go. Michigan begins the fourth quarter with a 2nd and 9 from the Alabama 39. Going to our right. Man in motion as Greasy gives to Williams. Here comes Bama blitzing through, but an arm tackle is not going to do the job. Williams goes to the 35-yard line. Kelvin Moore was there, but he basically just reached out and touched the running back, and that wouldn't slow down Clarence Williams. Heck, it wouldn't slow down Doug Layton.
Williams that time was just too fast for him, and he didn't get a good grasp on him. He just scooted and continued to run parallel to the line of scrimmage and finally got around enough, though, to pick up about 4.5 yards on the play. It appeared for a moment that Alabama had him behind the line of scrimmage.
A big third down play coming up right here. It is 3rd down and 5 from the Bama 35. Heading towards the end zone to our right. Shaw is in motion. The backs are split. Here comes the blitz. They unload with the flag on the play. Staten might have been in the neutral zone at the time of the snap as the pass falls incomplete. Ralph Staten was in so quickly, he might have been ahead of the play.
That's it. Offsides Alabama. I'll tell you what, Greasy gets that ball away in such a hurry, though. That one, though, was incomplete, even with the pressure being applied. That won't be enough for the first down, but it'll be 3rd down and less than a yard for the first down.
That'll be 4 flags against Alabama for a loss of 20 yards. Michigan has been penalized today a total of 4 times for a loss of 32. But
of those 4, Eli, 3 are defensive offside calls.
Indeed. So here now the 3rd down and literally inches. They are at the 30.5, have to get just to the 30. As the whistle from Michael Dover, the Atlantic Coast Conference referee, brings the players back to the huddle, and they break heading to the line of scrimmage. Inside the start of the final quarter. Here's a 3rd and inches for the Wolverines. Greasy calls his own number. He'll pick up the first down on the body surge to the 30-yard line. And as they unpile, they will no doubt signal first down there, and indeed they have done just that. So the Wolverine offense remains in business. That was the 4th 3rd down conversion of the day for them. in their 13th try.
When you have that much to get, less than a yard, usually that's the best call, because the quarterback, actually all he needs to do is fall forward, and he'll pick up the needed yardage, and that's what Greasy did.
Ozell Powell leaves. Alabama back to the normal defensive front. Handoff Williams. Bama clogs the middle. He'll kick it outside right. He's forward, scampering to the 20-yard line. A pickup of 9 on the play before Fernando Bryant is there on the stop for Alabama. The middle was clogged, and before you knew it, Williams changed direction in a heartbeat and kicked it out to the right and picked up 9.
He is so fast, as we pointed out, he runs parallel to the line of scrimmage, and nobody can penetrate deep enough to get to him, and when he does find the opening, he cuts it upfield. That time, he managed to pick up almost 9 yards.
2nd down and 1 now for Michigan. As wide to the far side goes Sheets and Shaw, with the running back lined up deep, and a man in the slot, Michael Myers. He makes contact with Rod Payne, the center, and the flags are in prior to the snap. Payne, the center, did he move his hand on the football or rock it?
I don't think so. I think Michael, anticipating, jumped and touched him.
Snap. Contact by the defense, offside, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And Mount Stallings is about to erupt like Mount Vesuvius across the way. He is pacing like a pent-up cat across the far side. Here now Michigan with a 1st and 10. 15-yard line, handoff up the middle, opening, and a big run for Chris Floyd. He gets loose and is down to the 7-yard line before Cedric Samuel makes the stop. The junior seemed to be stacked up and somehow burst free and gets all the way down to about the 7-yard line.
Thanks to those 2 offsides, which gave Michigan, in essence, 2 first downs to keep this drive alive, Alabama now seems to be reeling a bit under the running attack that Williams and all of the Michigan runners are throwing at him right now.
Sheets goes wide, far side with Shaw again. The backs are split. Handoff, big move by Bama, and Hood comes in to corral Chris Howard. Howard got the handoff and got drilled at the same time back out to the 11. So the play will lose 3, and it sets up a 3rd and 6 now for Michigan from the Alabama 11-yard line.
Boy, you'll never know how big that play was by Chris Hood. He kicked off the blocker. He moved by Tumaine and got to the runner, dropped him for the big loss. So here we go with a 3rd down situation for Michigan. And if Alabama doesn't jump off sides again, they might force him into a field goal.
With the single running back, man in motion, the tight end, Campbell, from the near to the far side. Greasy under pressure, throws, intercepted by Rudd, intercepted by Dwayne, 25, 30, he's going to go. Nobody is around but men in white. Dwayne Rudd, interception, 87 yards, touchdown, Alabama. Dwayne Rudd on the pick of one of the lamest looking passes that Greasy threw today. What? He just was unloading it, trying to find a man in the crease, and Rudd picked it up and he was gone.
We got to see who the guy was that was putting the pressure on Greasy, that was coming on a blitz. He got to Greasy and was throwing him to the ground when the ball was thrown, and Dwayne Rudd picked it off and took off 87 yards for the touchdown. And it's amazing how Alabama looked for a moment like the defense was a bit disorganized, wasn't really in control, and wham, they've got the lead.
And you know what? The Michigan band has stopped playing. Here's the extra point attempt by Alabama's John Brock. Chester Lewis, the snap. Lance Tucker, the hold. The kick is up, and the kick is good. And with 12 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the Gene Stallings era, the Crimson Tide is on top, looking for that 70th win for their departing head coach. Alabama on top, 10-6. This is the Alabama Sports Network. Well, the Alabama defense has now scored 27 touchdowns during the Gene Stallings era. And won't it be fitting, Doug Layton, if the coach gets that 70th win in his final game on the strength of the defense?
It really would be, because Coach Stallings espouses defense first. That you've got to stop the run, and to be able to run the football, you will win football games. And looking at his record, You cannot argue with the man at all.
Not at all. As Alabama has taken a lead, Big Al is here, waving that big crimson and white flag in the air. The cheerleaders are here. The $1 Million Band is here. Everybody enjoying this turnaround as 12-13 remain in the football game, and Bama leads 10-6. Tyrone Butterfield is deep to the near side. Russell Shaw deep to the far side. They are to our left. William Watts will kick this one in over end. Sailing into the end zone. Butterfield thought about bringing it out, but he elects to stay in as Alabama gets another touchback off the leg of William Watts. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Alabama Sports Network. We are getting official word now, officially an 86-yard touchdown. We said 87. The official stats will show it as an 86, but you're right, Doug, you can't overstate what Kelvin Sigler did on that play, opening up Dwayne Rudd's run.
Right, Sigler blitzing from his safety position, forced the bad throw.
1st and 10, Michigan from their own 20. Greasy to throw, near side, complete to Shaw. Shaw out of bounds at the 29.5. It'll be shy of the first down by about a half yard. Russell Shaw, the third best receiver on this football team. He has become a favorite target here today. That'll be his third reception for 31 yards.
Shaw, even as he caught the football, was very much aware of where he was on the field, and he dived and tried to put the ball across the yard marker, the down marker. He didn't quite make it, though.
Bama with their second defensive unit in. They will yield as Greasy calls his own number for the first down across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Alabama's defense continuing to do the job, number 2 in the conference this year, behind only Florida, and they were number 1 going into the SEC championship game, and number 8 in America. Defense will win you football. Here now the Wolverines, 1st and 10 from their own 32-yard line, going left to right. Fourth quarter underway, Bama leading. Greasy to throw. Steps up and throws long. Looking. It's overthrown. Intended on the near sideline for Shaw, but it goes incomplete as the flanker had coverage by Fernando Bryant, but the ball not catchable.
Right. Fernando with him step for step, though, and looking back, keeping his eye on the ball. It was thrown over everyone's head, and Alabama played that one very well. I'm surprised Greasy has been working so well on those on the outs, and those slant crossing patterns have been working exceptionally well against Alabama, but he has not run a 1 in the second half yet.
Alabama now has Dwayne Rudd back in the lineup. Here now is the 2nd and 10 from Michigan's own 32. Greasy has time, throws complete far side. Fagan makes the quick stop on Marcus Knight at the 37-yard line. Play will pick up 5. It's 3rd and 5 now for the Wolverines with 11:28 to go in the football game, and Alabama leading by a score of 10-6.
Alabama's been very good on third down plays, defending Michigan, except in this second half when they've given them a couple through offside penalties.
Michigan 4 of 14 in third down conversions. Here is the 3rd and 5 play from the 36-yard line. Far hash mark. Everybody jumps, and it looks as though on the left side, tight end Mark Campbell reared up from his set position and drew the Alabama linebackers in.
That's going to be the call, I'm quite sure. Campbell moved around and went into a pass block position.
And that is what brought the Crimson Tide's linebacker.
Defense in on your zone.
Oops.
Offside.
They're going to call it on Ralph Staten, who says he was drawn by Campbell, but the officials obviously see it the other way.
Again, the defense is going to give Michigan a first down by lining up or jumping offside.
So now the 3rd and inches from the 41. They need the 42-yard line. Greasy again for the first down as he just lunges forward, helped by the big guys in the trenches. 11 minutes to go in the ball game.
First down, Michigan. On the play prior to that, Eli, you know this year the new rule is if the defensive player jumps and pulls the offensive player into a move, it'll go against the defense.
Right. First defensive unit in now in total for Alabama. Out of the shotgun, Greasy. He's got Williams with him. Gives the ball to Williams. He'll try to go up the middle. Gets stacked up there. Chris Hood and Paul Pickett were there. Bryant comes up from the secondary to join the fray at midfield, or at least at the 45. Play will pick up a couple of yards. It's a 2nd and 8 now facing Coach Lloyd Carr and his Michigan Wolverines.
Working out of the shotgun that time, it was the draw. Greasy just handed the ball off to Williams, the running back, and Alabama clogged it up very effectively. He managed to pick up 2, though, when the dust settled.
Here is the 2nd and 8 from the 45, going left to right. Bama brings 6 men to the line. They blitz. The pass is deflected, goes right into the hands of Stevens for Michigan, and he catches it off what was not the designed play, certainly.
So I couldn't see the deflection.
Looked as though there was a touch right there in the middle.
Yeah, could have
Fagan
been.
was on Campbell, the intended receiver, and then it looked as though someone had gotten a hand on it, and it was Ty Streets who actually came up with the football off the deflect. In any event, it is good enough for the first down for Michigan, as Ty Streets, the sophomore from Madison, Illinois, was there to make the grab. Here's a 1st and 10 from the Bama 45. Greasy, handoff Williams. He's back to the line of scrimmage, outside of Fagan. Sidesteps down the sidelines. He gets to the 34-yard line. First down for Clarence Williams. He has had himself a career day for Michigan.
He is doing a super job. He's just too fast. He gets to the corners as quickly as I've seen anybody this year, and outruns the Alabama defense and has managed to pick up good yardage.
He even outraced the blocker. He had Zach Adamy going with him for a while, and then said, see ya, and left his own blocking behind.
Yeah, and he left Fagan in the dust, too.
10 rushes, 60 yards, plus 4 receptions for 72 for Williams. Here's the 1st and 10 from the 39. Greasy to throw, nearly intercepted, but broken up by Bryant as Fernando got his hand in front of Ty Streets. For Fernando, the 15th pass he has broken up this year.
That was the slant. I was saying they hadn't run in the second half. They tried it that time, but Fernando played it beautifully, stepped in front and slapped the ball away. For a moment, he looked like he might have been able to intercept, but had he played for the interception, he might have gotten loose for the touchdown instead.
So it is 2nd down and 10 from the Alabama 33. 9:27 to go in the game. Bama leading 10-6. From the far hash mark, going left to right, Michigan. Shaw in motion. The handoff is to Williams. Clarence up the middle. Weasels his way forward to the 30-yard line. Michael Myers had him in his grasp before the secondary came up, led by Kelvin Sigler on the stop. So now it is 3rd down and 7. Another big 3rd down play. Last time we saw a scenario like this, Bama earned a 5-yard penalty.
That's happened the last 3 times.
Indeed, you're right. Little cloud build up here in Tampa, as you will often see mid-afternoon in Florida, as the humidity often brings about a rain shower. Here now, Greasy from 3rd down. He'll loft one long, looking into the end zone. It is too long, incomplete. He was looking for his wide receiver, Marcus Knight, but he had drawn coverage by Deshae Townsend, and that now brings about a 4th down situation. And the punter, Paul Peristeris, is entering the football game, but Greasy remains in. Let's see what they're going to do here. They may use Peristeris, who has the better line, or at least Remy Hamilton now, and it will be Hamilton.
Yeah,
so they're going to go for the field goal, a 48-yard attempt. He had a 48-yarder against Northwestern earlier this year. Kicking it off the hash mark, going to our right. It is a low kick. It is a squib kick. It is wide and no good, as Alabama will deny Remy Hamilton what would have been his 3rd field goal of the day. And the Tide sidesteps the bullet. They retain a 10-6 lead and get the football right back. 8 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the game. This is the Alabama Sports Network. Alabama has Freddie Kitchens back in to control the offense after Warren Faust was in control earlier. Alabama playing their final game under Coach Gene Stallings. who tries to go out with a victory here today, and in so doing, become the 11th Alabama head coach to win his final game at the Capstone. The Tide leads 10-6, 8:41 to go in the ball game. 1st and 10 from their own 31. Michigan brings 6 men up. The handoff from Kitchens to Riddle. Turns the near corner. Short side there. He gets a couple of yards out to the 33-yard line. It'll bring up a 2nd down and 8 on the play. Maybe 2nd and 7 pending the spot. Alabama's going to try and use up some clock now with 8:22 to go in the game. Each team has their full complement of timeouts remaining.
Michigan has been playing that very, very well this afternoon. That tossed, and now Kitchens comes out of the ball game, I note.
Yeah, and Faust will come in. So Warren Faust comes back in. He of the option quarterbacking. He'll now work off the near hash mark on the 2nd down and 7. Looks on the option. Pitches right. Riddle is there. Turns the corner around Bowens. Flag is on the play, however. There was a hold as Alabama turned the corner. A good acceleration move by Riddle. Got him around David Bowens, who was in at right, or at least left defensive end. But there was a hold as he turned the corner, and they're going to mark it off, and Gene Stallings is livid on the sidelines. He is irate.
Well, these penalties just absolutely drive a coach to distraction. They really do. And now the offense. What appeared to be a very good option run that time by Dennis Riddle. And that's what the option will do. You were commenting on the defensive back, Bowen, who didn't know was out of the play. That was because he was playing the quarterback. And as a consequence, he couldn't catch the running back once the ball was tossed back. Coach Stallings is very, very upset.
Still sharing his thoughts with the officials from the ACC and others on the sideline. It is now a 2nd and 18 for Alabama, back at their own 22. Faust on the quarterback draw, breaks one tackle, then is put down by Steele from behind. Glenn Steele, the defensive end, who was able to get back to the play after the first guy slowed Faust down enough. And Steele made the put with 7:38 to go now in the ball game, and Alabama still nursing a 10-6 lead over Michigan.
Faust that time just couldn't get it underway. It looked like he was stopped right at the line of scrimmage and delayed him taking off, and by the time he did start moving upfield, blocks had been shed, and Michigan was ready to make the stop for a minimal gain.
Bama is 2 of 8 in 3rd downs. Here's a 3rd and 15 from their own 25. Out of the shotgun, Kitchens is back in. Freddie throws, and it's almost intercepted. Almost picked off by the on-rushing strong safety Tommy Hendricks, who didn't expect the ball to be delivered into his hands and dropped it. That could have been disastrous. Kitchens in for that play, and now Bama will have to punt. With 7:08 to go in the ball game, Hayden Stockton for his 6th punt of the day. He averages 46.4 per kick with a 60-yarder earlier. Woodson is the deep man again for the Wolverines at his own 35-yard line. The punt will be right to left. Here comes the pressure, and he gets it away. Woodson backpedals to the 27, makes the grab to the 26. Still looking for an opening. Goes laterally to the 27. Far side, a flag on the play, near side. One of the Bama players got blocked from behind. John David Phillips took a hit from behind and a hold, both at the 40-yard line. And that will be a 46-yard punt, but the flag.
Excellent coverage that time by Alabama. I thought for a moment with that line drive spiral that Stockton had given Michigan that he might be able to return it, but Alabama really covered the field well. You called it. That's what it was. It was against the kicking team, and the receiving team, rather. It'll be 1st down, but it'll be somewhere around the 25 where they started.
The mark off as they double-team John David Phillips. Everybody knows if you follow Bama football, he's normally the first guy down the field on special teams, has made a ton of tackles this year. And one guy, here comes the Michigan offense again, led by quarterback Brian Griese. After his fine showing against Ohio State, he has gone the distance here today. Chris Floyd is the single running back, now on the drop. Griese looks to throw. Near side, it is bobbled and caught on the way down by the wide receiver, Russell Shaw. Shaw went up to make the catch, bobbled it, caught it on the way down for a neat reception at the 38-yard line.
It was definitely a completed pass. It never hit the ground. He did a great job, and he was well covered too because Fegan was right there on him, and he just kept his eye on the ball and brought it down.
Got to give Shaw credit. Great concentration. He will go wide to the far side, joined by Ty Streets. 1st and 10 from their own 41. Greasy to throw. He'll put it across the middle. It is complete to Shaw. Shaw to the 35, to the 33 of Alabama with Fernando Bryant on his back. And they'll move the chains with 6:26 remaining in this football game.
The offensive line is giving Greasy plenty of time, and that time Shaw on man coverage, just on a slant across the field. The ball was there. There's no way to defend it. And Alabama finds themselves going back.
Chris Floyd leaves. Clarence Williams checks in with, again, Streets and Shaw to the near side. On the 1st and 10. On the reverse, Russell Shaw, far side 40, 35. Fegan puts him down at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Alabama wise to the reverse that time with flanker Russell Shaw lumbering with the football. Didn't fool him.
That's right. Also, Ralph Staten was right there as well. And Fegan crossing, following the play, really put the coup de grace on him. He lost a yard and a half on the play.
Greasy, to his credit, the quarterback threw a nice block on that play. It'll lose a couple, that play will. Michigan now with a 2nd down and 11. At the 35, handoff Williams, double teamed and put down. Michael Myers and Dwayne Rudd.
Whoa.
Now there's a formidable combination, and they just lowered the boom on Clarence Williams.
Boy, when it's time to get into the Michigan backfield, those two can get into the backfield. Of course, they can do that, I would imagine, against any college team in the country because they're just that good. 3rd down and big yardage now for Michigan. The ball's at the 40.
It is 3rd and 17, 18. 3rd and 18 now for the Wolverines from the Bama 39. We are inside 5 minutes remaining in this one. 4:50 to go. Wolverines send men wide to the far side and to the near. Backs are stacked behind Greasy. In motion is Woodson. Timeout Michigan. Timeout Michigan as Greasy looked up again. Didn't like the defensive set with Bama stunting just a bit, and he'll call time. 4:38 to go in the ball game. Alabama 10, Michigan 6. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We are live at Tampa Stadium here in Tampa, Florida. Beautiful afternoon. A magnificent sports complex they have built here with the onset of Major League Baseball coming. A new stadium next door for the Tampa Bay Bucks. New spring training base for the New York Yankees. The St. Petersburg Suncoast Dome, home to the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's become quite a sports market the Tampa Bay area has. Here now is a 3rd and 17 from Michigan. Big play from the Bama 39. Man in motion as Greasy drops back. Bryan throws over the head of Clarence Williams, incomplete. He was looking for Williams, who was open at about the 36-yard line, but the pass not a good one. And Alabama now will drop back as here comes the kicking unit again for the Wolverines. Now remember, Greasy is the pooch punter, and he is in. Brian Greasy will punt. He did earlier a 21-yarder that pinned Alabama back at around the goal line. The deep man for the Crimson Tide is Kelvin Sigler. The snapper is Mark Bolash. Greasy will punt this one. It is off the side of his foot, but nevertheless deep enough that it'll take a Michigan bounce, go out of bounds at the 22-yard line. So not necessarily what Greasy was looking for, a 16-yard punt, but nevertheless it will keep Alabama bottled up just a bit. Now here are the pertinents in the ball game. We have 4 minutes and 24 seconds to play. Alabama leading 10-6 with the football. The Tide has all of their timeouts remaining. Michigan is down to their final 2. And the Tide would just love to put this one away, even the count against Michigan, and let Coach Gene Stallings head home with his 70th win. The Tide breaks the huddle with Freddie Kitchens at quarterback. John Causey is the center. The single running back, Sean Alexander. He'll get the handoff, goes to the far side of the field, turns it up north-south. He's across the 30, 35, down to the 36-yard line. First down, Alabama. Big run there as he went laterally for a while, then saw the opening behind the blocking on the right side, and he turned it upfield for a 13-yard gain out to the Michigan 36-yard line. And the clock on the move as they move the chains, closing in on 4 minutes remaining. As always, Doug will be in the locker room. The Likes locker room report will follow as part of the First Alabama Regions Bank fifth quarter show. Lots coming up on the postgame today. Now a 1st and 10 Alabama from their own 36. The quarterback is Kitchens. Freddie on the give. Sean Alexander, nothing there. He will lose a yard back to the 35, setting up a 2nd down and 11. But again, the Tide intent at this point to keeping the clock moving. 3:35 to go. Both teams well represented here in this stadium. A lot of crimson and white across the way. A lot of maize and blue on the near side as we sit high above the playing surface. Gene Stallings, Mike Dubose, Woody McCorvey, all the coaches on the sidelines busily coaching and pacing. Here's a 2nd and 10 now from their own 36 for Bama. Kitchens on the handoff. Sean Alexander reads the seam, 45-50 into Wolverine territory. First down, 47-yard line. He was stacked up at the line of scrimmage, maybe for a gain of a yard, but Sean waited and waited and waited and then saw a hole for 17 yards and the big first down into Wolverine territory. And most importantly, it keeps the clock on the roll and Alabama in control of the offense. 10-6, the Tide. The difference, an 86-yard interception return for a touchdown by Dwayne Rudd. Buchanan and Vaughn wide to the far side. Single running back, Sean Alexander. He gets the handoff. Here comes the blitz. He'll break the tackle and manages to get a couple of yards. Jared Irons, the inside linebacker, came blitzing, got right there to hang on to Sean Alexander, who then broke free. Michigan will take a timeout. They will use their 2nd timeout with 2:25 remaining in the game, and will break away as well. Bama leads 10-6, trying to ice this one away for their departing head coach, Gene Stallings. We'll be right back. Big crowd, a lot of enthusiasm. And I'll tell you, got Michigan and Alabama on the field together. Doesn't get a whole lot bigger than this. May not be for the national championship, but two of America's most storied football franchises battling it out here in Tampa, Florida today. Bama breaks the huddle on a 2nd and 8. Kitchens, the quarterback. Trevis Smith ahead of Alexander in the eye. Vaughn in motion. Handoff, Sean Alexander. The blitzing man overruns the play. Alexander, 25-30. He's to the 20. He's to the 15. He's to the 10. To the 5. Touchdown. 46 yards. Touchdown, Alabama. Touchdown, Alabama. The Tide is going to give Gene Stallings his 70th win at the capstone in just 2 minutes and 15 seconds from now. Big-time run for Sean Alexander. Got a great block, allowing him to turn the corner. He then outraced one man who tried to tackle his ankles, and he didn't stop until the words Tampa Bay were facing him in the end zone. And Gene Stallings with a huge, huge smile on his face on the sidelines. Although equally as quickly it returns to that more familiar stoic look. Now the extra point. Bad snap, but it is picked up by Tucker and kicked through by Brock. And now with 2:15 to go in the ball game, Alabama's up 17-6. Let's break for this from our local stations on the Alabama Sports Network. On the Tampa Stadium sidelines, Gene Stallings looking to average 10 wins per season. Coach Bear Bryant averaged 9.3 wins per season while at the University of Alabama. Though again, Gene Stallings will be quick to deflect any comparison between himself and Alabama's legendary coach. any way you cut it, though. Coach Stallings is up in some rarefied company. Here now, William Watts getting set to kick it away. Tyrone Butterfield deep to the near side. Russell Shaw to the far side. Into the end zone. Butterfield over the shoulder. The grab, the touchback. And Michigan will have the football 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. So what do we pick as the Alabama power play of the game? Do we go with Dwayne Rudd? Do we go with Sean Alexander? We'll all find out together as our panel of luminaries will come up with a decision shortly. Anybody ever call you a luminary, Tom? No, I didn't think so. What a big-time play for Sean Alexander. Ran that one like he ran him at LSU that Saturday night. 1st and 10, Michigan from their own 20. Out of the shotgun, Greasy has gone the distance at quarterback. He'll keep a man in to block as he throws to Woodson. Caught at the 25. He'll take 3 strides and go out of bounds at the 28. So an 8-yard pass play to Charles Woodson, the two-way player. 5 possessions inside the Alabama 30 today. And Michigan has mustered only 2 field goals. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the ball game. Here's a 2nd and 2 from the Bama 28. Rod Payne, the center, to Greasy out of the shotgun. He'll face rushes. He'll sidestep him and throw. It is nearly intercepted at midfield, but it bounces in front of the diving Crimson Tide's Kelvin Sigler. Great pressure up front by Alabama's Kelvin Moore, who got it on Greasy and helped rush the play. Michael Myers, I'll tell you, Greasy is going to be seeing Michael Myers in his nightmares. But he sidestepped him, sidestepped Chris Hood, and still have to deal with Kelvin Moore. 2 minutes to go in the game. Here's a 3rd and 2. Greasy to throw the out pattern to Woodson. Makes the grab. 1st down at the 32-yard line. Needed 2, picked up 4. So Charles Woodson now, with exactly 2 minutes remaining, stepped out, and Michigan will have the football 1st and 10 at the Michigan-owned 34-yard line. Be very interesting to hear from the coach in the locker room. Doug is already making his way downstairs. If you're wondering why we're not hearing from him, he's on his way. It's a long way from where we sit down to the locker rooms. Here now again, Greasy on the 1st and 10 out of the shotgun. He'll throw long. He finds a man who drops the football. He drops the football, streaking up with Ralph Staten defending against Russell Shaw. Looked as though Shaw had the ball for a minute, but apparently never did have control, as Staten was there on the coverage for the Crimson Tide. And these final 2 minutes are going to take an interminable length of time, you have a feeling. The final minute 54 in the Gene Stallings era. His office in Tuscaloosa already packed up. He'll go home from here to Tuscaloosa, spend the day, then head to Paris, Texas. He'll return to Tuscaloosa for the football banquet on January the 11th. Here now a 2nd and 10 from the 33. Greasy unloads. Wrong side of the intended receiver, Williams, who had run the out pattern at the 35-yard line. And it brings up a 3rd down and 10 situation on a warm day here in Tampa, Florida. All modes of dress and undress being exhibited by the fans, particularly the snowbirds from Michigan who have come down and are enjoying this change from Michigan's winters into the 80-degree temperature of Tampa. Here's a 3rd and 10 from their own 33. Out of the shotgun, Greasy again gets the snap. He'll wait. He'll drop back to the 25, rolls. He has running room. He's at 30, 35, 40. He gets out of bounds, does not get to the 43, which he needed for the 1st down yardage. We'll have to see where they spot it. Heck, they might even give it to him. They do. Didn't look from this angle as though he made it, but I thought he had stepped out. But the official, much closer to the play, does give him the 1st down. So the clock stops with a minute 42 remaining. They will move the chains. Michigan does have 1 timeout yet to go. Ralph Staten, the senior from Mary Montgomery High School, playing his final game for Bama. Here now the 1st and 10 from the 43. Greasy to throw. It is caught at midfield by the lumbering wide receiver, Ty Streets. Streets will make the grab and gets out to the 50. So now at the 50-yard line, Michigan going left to right. So far, our group of luminaries are saying Sean Alexander's touchdown, the play of the game. Here now, Greasy throwing long, looking for Williams. He'll make the grab and is tackled, put down at the 10-yard line. Put down by Andre Short at the 10. 17-6, Alabama leading with 1:29 to go. A 41-yard strike from Greasy to Clarence Williams. Michigan in a never say die mode. Now looking at a 1st and 10. 1st and goal from the 10. Greasy to Shaw. Makes the catch, gets around the defense, sidesteps 2 men into the end zone. Touchdown. He beat Michael Fagan, the first man, and then he beat Cedric Samuel, the second man. So a 10-yard touchdown pass. Greasy to Russell Shaw. First touchdown of the day scored by the Michigan offense, and it comes with just 1:16 to go. And now Alabama will take timeout, assuming Michigan will go for the 2-point conversion. So Bama will burn their first timeout right here, and we will keep it here after that 10-yard touchdown strike by Brian Greasy to Russell Shaw. It'll be 9 plays, 80 yards. And it took 59 seconds off the clock to complete. And we will assume a 2-point conversion attempt here. We see Greasy and the rest all huddled around Coach Lloyd Carr on the near sidelines. Well, this has been everything we expected and then some. You kind of knew it would be a low-scoring affair. Two teams not particularly known for their offenses. Interesting passing numbers, though, for Greasy. Remember, he was only 14 of 24 this year for 226 yards, playing sporadically. Well, today he is 21 of 36, 289 yards, and a touchdown. Now the teams come back out onto the playing surface. Michigan will go for the 2-point conversion. It is 17-12. The 2-point conversion draws Michigan within a field goal of a tie. Campbell in motion, the tight end. Greasy is under center. From the 3, he steps back. He throws it high to Russell Shaw. A flag on the play against Michael Fagan. It was an incomplete pass. Michael Fagan, however, is going to be called on the defensive pass interference against Russell Shaw, the intended receiver. And that is the indication from referee Mike Dover out of the ACC. So we do it again with the football marked half the distance to the goal line to the 1.5. Here comes Michigan again. Greasy under his center, Rod Payne. In motion, Campbell. The handoff up the middle. 2-point conversion. Good for Chris Floyd. Chris Floyd on the 2-point conversion. And that will now make the score 17-14 for Alabama. 1:16 seconds remaining in this football game. The final 2 minutes have taken an interminable time. Bama has 2 timeouts. Michigan has 1 remaining. The 10-yard pass from Greasy to Shaw. Then the first 2-point conversion was no good, but Shaw was interfered with by Michael Fagan. And the second time around, they made it good on the Chris Floyd rumble up the middle. Now here comes Michigan. Normally it is Jay Feely who kicks it away, but Remy Hamilton is coming out now, as we would assume the onside kick attempt. So they will not go with the big leg of Jay Feely, but instead Remy Hamilton from just down the road in Boca Raton, Florida, coming back to his home state. Alabama, knowing the onside attempt is coming, brings everybody up close, with the exception of Marcel West, who will stand back at his own 15-yard line. Hamilton from the near hash mark, just off the near hash mark, will squib it to the far side. It bounces off an Alabama arm, but is covered by the Crimson Tide across the way. Chad Goss, avenging a mental error earlier in the football game by making a nice grab on that bouncing football at the 42-yard line. So again, Alabama can run the clock here. Only one timeout remaining for Michigan. The Alabama players, I wonder if they're going to have the guts to take the soft drinks or the energy drink and pour it over top of Gene Stallings. The quarterback is Freddie Kitchens. He will take the snap, go forward for a yard to the 44-yard line. And now timeout being taken by Michigan. This will be their final time. Now Alabama with a 2nd down and 9 from their own 43. 1:07 to go. Again, Alabama can run the clock to its conclusion. Freddie Kitchens, before John Causey was able to snap the football, here came the world's largest groundhog, or so it seemed. William Carr, the nose tackle, lost his balance and fell forward. Offside on the defense, the 5-yard mark off. It's kind of like he just sidled over at 6 foot 269. Doesn't look as though anybody has the all-sport container in tow across the way. I believe they'll sooner give Coach Stallings a ride off the field on their shoulders. But a very emotional game, and Bama was not going to let this one get away. They wanted it for the coach. Here now is a 2nd and 4 from the 48-yard line. Kitchens takes the ball, goes to the 49, and hits the deck. And now the clock will continue to mark its way towards conclusions. The entire Stallings family on hand here today. All the daughters, Ruth Ann Stallings, John Mark, everybody is here. Sons-in-law, grandchildren. Heck, they probably take up much of the stadium, as large and as wonderful as the Stallings family is. 37 seconds to go. Play clock is down to 10, 9, 8. Alabama will use every second off the clock. 5, 4. This will be the last play. As at midfield, Freddie Kitchens takes the snap, goes to the knees. And now across the way, Alabama coach Gene Stallings gets his hand shaken by the officials from the ACC. The coach has a smile on his face as the clock heads towards zeros, and the players will pick Gene Stallings up on their shoulders. The last time it happened, the team had won the national championship at the Louisiana Superdome. And today, escorted by Mike Sullivan and Kerry Sutton of the Alabama State Patrol, media members, and every Crimson Tide player, the coaches now meet at midfield as Gene Stallings is let down from his perch upon the players' shoulders, and he will take with him some magnificent memories and his 70th win in 7 years as the coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I envy Doug Layton. He'll be in the locker room in the middle of all of that emotion coming up in just a short while, and you'll be hearing it all right here on the network, so do stay with us as Bama is a winner. And Gene Stallings heads into the sunset of Paris, Texas, a winner yet again. The First Alabama Regions Bank fifth quarter show is next. Stick around. From Tampa, Florida, We'll be right back. Standing by with the coach, so let's head downstairs to the basement of Tampa Stadium.
Welcome into the Alabama locker room. I'm Doug Layton with the locker room report, and I'm with Alabama head coach Gene Stallings. Coach, great win today. A hot day, wasn't it?
You know, what can you say? I mean, it was hot. Guys played hard on both sides. We made some plays. We made some silly plays. We looked like we were going to give it away. Then we recovered the onside kick. It looked like they were going to score. We fumbled the football, and then Wayne Rudd brings it back for a touchdown. It's just against a great football team. You know,
it was just an exciting game. If you're here to just spectate, the game is now gone. And when did it first dawn on you? It was very emotional a few moments ago that this was your last game.
Well, when we covered the onside kick, and I knew that they didn't have a one timeout, and then it sort of dawned on me then. But I never gave it any thought until that point. I just trying to do whatever I could to sort of encourage and make a suggestion now and then toward the game.
What about what are your plans? Have you got any? You're just going back and relax for a while before doing
yes, I'm going back to Tuscaloosa, and then I'm going to Paris for a few days, and back into Tuscaloosa. You know, got a football banquet the 11th of January, and I've got a few things that I have to do, but then I'll be moving around the 15th and 16th.
I know this may be difficult, but it's going to be the first time that you'll be asked many times. Of the 7 years you're the head coach at Alabama, what moment does it? I know there was a lot of them, but what moment do you really recall?
I guess winning the national championship. Well, this one will be one. Hey, I'm thinking this one will be one of them. Losing to Florida, I'll remember that one for a long time. Losing to Georgia when we're 10 up and 10 minutes to play. But this will be one of the top 2 or 3 because, you know, it was a good Michigan team that had defeated the number 1 team in the country, and it was a hot afternoon, and we just did what we had to do to win.
Well, Coach, I know I speak for all Alabama fans. We're going to miss you and miss you a lot.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm going to miss Alabama, and I think Mike Dubose will do a super job, and I'll just look forward to continuing to support not only him but these players. And hopefully they'll all graduate.
Well, we've all enjoyed working with you in the Alabama broadcast, and the best of luck to you.
I appreciate that, Thank you.
That's Alabama head coach Gene Stallings. He may not be the head coach now. I don't know what the rule is. But it's minute the game is over, but he's still the head coach, I imagine. But anyway, at a moment sort of pathos, and it was Coach Stallings and his finest hour anyway. We'll be right back to the Alabama locker room.
All right, Doug, thank you very much. Doug Layton down in the locker room, and it was an interesting mix of emotion down there, as you could tell. The coach excited, exuberant about the win, although as the interview wound its way to a conclusion, somewhat more reserved, and I think the realism and reality of it all finally hitting as the coach realizes he walked through that tunnel into the locker room for the last time as head coach of the University of Alabama.